gotta mute my TV.
You can hear me?
Yo.
Yo, what's good, man?
Hey, how's it
Thanks for
going?
having
How's
me.
it going? Hey, I'm just starting the show now, yeah? 1 second. Hey, everybody, this is Mike from Edge Note 50 TV. Edge Note 50 TV, talking about boxing. And we got some big news going on this week. Sorry, I was supposed to do a show on Thursday, but I was ill, so now I'm fit again. So now I'm ready to do some shows, get it popping, get it going. I've got YG on as well. He's ready to talk about boxing as well. Say, hey, G, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm chilling in there, man. It's only 11 o'clock in New York right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're bright up and early, just how you like it, right? You know what I mean? Hey, man, we got a lot to talk about today, catch up on. We're going to be talking about Deontay Wilder, Fury. It's been put since the last show. We found out that Wilder Fury 2 has been postponed. Who's to blame for that? And after what's been going on afterwards. Since then, Eddie Hearn's been throwing out offers. Wilder's now open to talking with Eddie Hearn now. Looks like, so we're gonna go all into that. Plus, got Canelo Jacobs, but they've been doing their press tour this week. James DeGale has retired. So plus lots of other stuff as well, so we're gonna be talking about it all. So this could be a 10-hour session, guys, 10-hour session. So hold on to your seatbelts. So yeah, let's get cracking. Hey, Hamad 92, what's happening? Yeah, so all right, let's get sorted out. Wilder Fury 2. Being postponed. So anyone that's been living under a rock, or if you're new to this, basically, it looked like it was going to happen. Wilder and Fury was talking about saying it was 10 days away. Frank Warren said it's just about to happen. And then out of the blue, Tyson Fury did a press conference where he announced his new deal with ESPN. And as a result of that, they had to renegotiate the negotiations again. And as of last week, they at WBC announced that the ESPN has asked to postpone the event as they want Tyson Fury to have a tune-up fight first before they go into a Wilder Fury fight later down the line. So a lot of people, as you can understand, is not happy about it. Wilder's come out at Fury. Fury's come out at Wilder. So they've had a little bit of a Twitter beef. So there's a lot of backlash from it. The fans are not happy about it, as they're looking forward to it. So YG, what's your take on the whole situation? Hello, YG, you there? All right, he's on mute, so he'll be back when he's back. All right, so basically, what's happening in regards to Wilder and Fury? This is how I see it. Yeah.
My phone broke up. You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. So, what I was saying, what do you think about this situation?
I feel Fury had to cash in. I know, like, a lot of people's mad because some people feel like Fury built up this hype off of Wilder saying he gonna fight him, and then he got the nice offer from ESPN, and then he took that deal. But if you sit back and look at it and you think for a second, like, remember he took those years off because of the situations that he had. He came back for the tune-up fights. Who knows, like, what his, like, you can't never really count another person's money. So I just felt like they put that money on the table and Fury took it.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, how I look at it is that there's two sides to this, yeah? Number one, there's the fan side point of view, and there's Tyson Fury point of view. And the day, from Tyson Fury point of view, you can't really blame him. He's in the business of Tyson Fury, yeah? We knew soon after, we heard that he was negotiating with ESPN since September. So even before the fight with Wilder, he was negotiating with ESPN. And, as soon as the Wilder fight was over, he was looking for what's the best offer for Tyson Fury, because he's in the Tyson Fury business. So in regards to the deal with ESPN, look, he wants to get the best money as possible. So fair enough to him for getting that money. But everybody knew everybody in this cat and dog knew that as soon as the ESPN deal was announced, that this Wilder fight weren't happening. Everybody knew it. Yeah.
Now, I thought maybe because it's still enough. It was still enough money on the table for everybody to eat. But then I thought too, like, that they right. If ESPN is giving Fury all this money, well, the money that they gave him to just let him fight Wilder the first fight, then if he lose that fight, what interest is he? Like, who's he gonna fight next? So obviously, if you're on ESPN side too, you kind of don't want him to take the Wilder fight in the first fight either. Because
but then that's what it comes. But then everyone thought that fight was going to be the next fight. So this is the thing. ESPN, they're thinking, let's delay the fight a little bit. But the problem is with Fury is that Fury don't have no belt. He's not a champion. So that's where the problem lies. You're in a situation where Tyson Fury is not well known in the States, and also this proves one thing as well, because when the Wilder Fury first fight came out, everybody was saying, and the pay-per-views came out, what was it, 340,000 pay-per-views. Everyone was saying that it was a success. Everyone was saying that it was a success. Wilder Fury 2 has to happen. It's gonna even do even more pay-per-views than before, and that was the narrative that people were spinning. I said way back when I heard the news that it was a terrible pay-per-view performance. It was terrible. Like, when you're comparing pay-per-views, like, Mayweather does over 1 million. Manny Pacquiao at his peak was doing 900,000 to 1 million. Canelo versus Triple G did over 1 million. So when you're comparing those to the pay-per-view kings, then that pay-per-view wasn't good enough.
But not in their first pay-per-view. That's the thing, though. You can't compare people at the top of their peak, Pacquiao and Mayweather. Remember, even those guys built, those guys came up off of who they was fighting. Like, if you look at Mayweather, he got on the pay-per-view stream by fighting De La Hoya. Pacquiao, we all know Pacquiao from fighting the Mexicans, from fighting Barrera, Morales, then Marquez, then that's what got hit. So all the time, you always need a dancing partner. Like, this happens a lot in boxing. We're starting to happen a lot, where two sides is making decent money, and then now it's just become about the money. So the split got to be certain way. So it takes a couple of years to make the fight. They try to make the fight marinate. That's the same thing that Keith Thurman was trying to say. Like, listen, I don't have a lot of, like, who I'm gonna do pay-per-view with. And then when he said this, I kind of thought about, like, if he would jump out and fight Errol Spence this year, right? See, if he would have had the Spence fight, I don't think that would have been pay-per-view off the back.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, let me try and rectify what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is a poor pay-per-view relative to opponent. This is what I'm talking about. Because when you're the whole point of people have to look at it from a business point of view. If you're looking at it from a business point of view, is that you're looking at opponents of, okay, who can I make money off? Can I make, like, Wilder versus Fury? That's a money fight. That should be a money fight, because they're two of the top heavyweights in the world, and that should be a money fight. Do you know what I mean? When Keith Thurman is looking at Errol Spence, he's thinking that's a money fight. That's a fight down the line, a potential pay-per-view, and when that fight happens, that should be a money fight, and that should be the fight that I'm gonna bank all my money on. That's basically it. So it's like so when you're looking at that, you have to look at predicting for it to be the money fight in America. You need to be doing a minimum over 1 million pay-per-views for it to be a successful pay-per-view. Over 1 million, a minimum. So then what you do is, to build it with Deontay Wilder, what they should have done with Deontay Wilder first off, is that with the Luis Ortiz fight, they should have put that on pay-per-view first off. They put that on pay-per-view. No. And then to build, so to say, look, he's fighting his first elite opponent. If you want to see it, put it on pay-per-view. Then afterwards, you put Wilder versus Fury on pay-per-view. But then instead of what they did is they put it for free, and then they put Fury and Wilder on pay-per-view. That's the biggest fight, heavyweight fight to have, other than Joshua, on Joshua. So to have your biggest heavyweight fight, that's your peak. There's not going to be any heavyweight fights that Wilder's going to have, maybe Joshua, that's going to generate more than 340 pay-per-view buys. I think if he fights Joshua, that will generate maybe 500 pay-per-view buys, maybe 400,000 pay-per-view buys tops. It's not going to generate 1 million pay-per-view buys. And that's the biggest fight he's going to have. If he loses to Joshua, then what other fights can he have on pay-per-view? None. Whereas Manny Pacquiao, he can fight Adrian Broner. He can fight. And also this is an interesting point as well. Earl Spence, he's fighting his first pay-per-view against Mikey Garcia. Now that's a good move. That's a good move for him. If he beats Mikey Garcia, everyone thinks that he's going to beat Mikey Garcia. Everyone thinks that.
I don't.
But
I don't.
Yeah, you don't think he's going to beat. But like the majority of people think that Mikey Garcia is the underdog in this fight. Yeah, we can say that he's the underdog. Yeah.
Yeah, that we could agree on.
Yeah. So, but then if Earl Spence wins that fight, then he generates, let's say, 340 pay-per-view buys, then that's a success. Do you know what I mean? Because the reason why I say that's a success is because he has generated 340 pay-per-view buys fighting an opponent that everybody is expecting him to beat. Do you know what I mean?
He's fighting, even though Mikey Garcia, I think he was born in the United States, but he's still fighting a Mexican. This fight, if Errol Spence was fighting Sean Porter, and even if they had the title on the line, that wouldn't be pay-per-view.
No. If he beat, this is the whole point of what I'm saying. If Mikey Garcia if Errol Spence beats Mikey Garcia, then he's gone, and then he's staying, and it does over 340 pay-per-view buys, then he's staying on pay-per-view.
No.
Yeah, he will do. Sean Porter will be pay-per-view. Will be pay-per-view.
If he fight, listen, even if he win this fight and Sean Porter beats, or I don't know how, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that guy's name. The guy that
Ugas.
Oh, it is. That's how you pronounce it. All right. So Sean, that fight is not going to be on pay-per-view. Sean Porter versus Sean, that'll be a title match.
That's a unification fight. Why would a unification fight not be pay-per-view? If he beats,
because those two people are not going to draw outside fans. Nobody in England is going to really want to watch that. You're not going to get a Mexican. You're not going to get a Latino. You're not going to get that Latino crowd. That's one of the things that I learned from Mayweather. That when he was fighting certain people he picked, he was fighting people because he knew they was going to have a whole country behind them. The Ricky Hatton fight. Marquez. That's why he wanted to fight Pacquiao, Robert Ghost Guerrero. He didn't fight too many black fighters because that's just gonna we're just gonna bring the same crowd. That's one of the reasons why the Joshua fight, the Tyson Fury fight didn't do as good as it did, because all the Joshua fans felt that they built that fight by saying Joshua was scared, so they said we're not watching that. So they lost a lot of bit of fans. I could say you would agree that they probably lost at least like 50 at least 50,000 pay-per-views of Joshua fans saying, yo, I'm not buying that fight. They streamed it.
No, like the Joshua fans was in the UK, but I think it's because late at night it's going to be difficult to sell a pay-per-view for late at night. But I think that the reason why the pay-per-view didn't sell as much as it should do is because it didn't promote Wilder from the beginning, from the get-go. Like I said this from the beginning. They should have promoted Deontay Wilder from when he first won his world title against Verne. They should have pushed him there and then. They should have pushed him from the beginning and put him as a big star, over as a big star from then. If they pushed him as a big superstar from that time, he would have been a lot bigger than he is now. And that pay-per-view would have done probably more than what it is.
The only way he could be any bigger if Charles Martin and them would have gave him the title shot instead of going to fight Joshua.
But that's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm trying to say. Because at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn backed Anthony Joshua to do the job on Charles Martin. Charles Martin, everyone knew Charles Martin was food for anyone in that heavyweight division. So if you wanted to back Deontay Wilder and put Deontay Wilder in a stronger position, then you could have easily overpaid Charles Martin to fight Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder takes the minimum money and said, you know what? I'll take the less money now. I'll beat Charles Martin because he was food for anybody. And then that would have given Deontay Wilder 2 belts. It would have given him 2 belts for him to have.
That
And then
part,
if he fought Anthony Joshua, and then if Anthony Joshua fought Wilder at that point, it would have been a 50-50 fight because he would have said, I got 2 belts, AJ's got 2 belts. So this is what I'm trying to tell you right now. They didn't push Deontay Wilder back then when they should have pushed him. And if they pushed him, like Eddie Hearn did to Evan.
Wait, time out. I'm going to cut you off. But those two agreed. They had a whole conversation backstage. He felt that he had a better chance versus Joshua. So he took that fight. It was the money was a good point too, but he just felt he had a better chance versus Joshua. He seen the right hand. He didn't want that smoke. So he fought Joshua. My whole point back to the Fury, I don't want to get back to the Fury thing. I'm saying that pay-per-view did not do good because a lot of people, for one, felt that I was one of the people too. I knew Fury was at least 2 training camps out. Like, he was still 20 pounds higher than he was when he beat Klitschko for the titles. So I already knew that he was kind of still out of shape. I felt that he was 2 fights away. He was 2 training camps away. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had to have a fight, probably lose another 10 pounds off of that, came down to 250 something, then have another fight, and then come back down to like 240 something. Well, 247 was the weight that he was when he won the title. Like, you know, so I already felt like he took that fight too early. But Joshua opened the door by not taking the fight. Like, by him not taking a fight with Wilder, that's what opened the door for Fury to get on going to, I've seen it on YouTube, but I was told that he went on Instagram and told Wilder, send me the contract, I have it signed. I seen that on YouTube, but that he could have did the stream on Instagram. So that's what opened the door. Then when they started promoting the fight, they promoted the fight as Anthony Joshua was scared and all of that. So that turned a lot of fans away. That made a lot of people not like the fight. Instead of them just promoting the fight like, yo, you know what? I take this opportunity to fight him. Don't even mention Joshua. Like, if Joshua want to get next, he can get next. I think a little bit more people that's Joshua fans, they'd have been like, you know what? Let me just watch this. But since they was like tight, you know what I mean, crapping on Joshua toward the build up to the fight, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
I think that, you know, I think it comes down to, like, I think it's bad bashing your opponent and downing and bashing your opponent because you're trying to build up a fight. And if you try and say that the fighter is absolutely terrible, then the fighters are going to go, well, what's the point of watching this if the fighter is not really good or not very good fighter at all? So I don't like it when people do that in the first place, because you're right, it will put people off. But, like, at the same time as well, like, Tyson Fury is the one who has benefited the most from this, because he has got an $80 to $100 million deal from the whole out of this whole situation at the end of the day, whilst Deontay Wilder is pretty much left where he started, looking for an opponent, and is probably going to fight Dominic Breazeale next in May, where it looks like it's going to be. So now he looks like he's got a little bit of egg on his face, because first he was saying, oh, I don't want to speak to Joshua, I'm all about Tyson Fury. But now Tyson Fury has basically screwed him over. That's basically what's happened. Tyson Fury has screwed him over. And Wilder's now scrambling now. Oh no, I have to fight Dominic Breazeale. And he could get up to 2.3 million, 4 million for that fight. You know, so if I was Wilder, I'll be pissed right now. I'll be pissed. There was people like Wilder saying, he would be happy because he's gonna go to purse bids. But I knew it weren't going to get that far. I knew that as soon as he signed with ESPN, this fight weren't going to happen. People were just being naive and thinking that it was going to happen, but it weren't. It's very difficult for two TV networks, to come together and fight. And let's remember, Al Heyman and Bob Arum, they hate each other. Like, who would have thought that this fight had a possibility of happening? Like, it's not going to happen. Imagine it. Bob Arum calling Al Heyman. I know that we had beef over the Spence and Crawford fight, but how about making Fury and Wilder? Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen.
You know what I never understood too about that, which is a little strange, because Bob Arum is a promoter, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. Let me interrupt for 1 second. Hey, I'm Biased and Biased Boxing Talk. How's it going? Welcome to the chat. Hey, if you guys got your opinions on what's happening with Fury and Wilder, leave in the chat. So we'd like to hear what you're saying. Oh, sorry, go on, carry on.
All right. Well, this would always throws me off about that, because Bob Arum's the promoter but Al Heyman's an advisor. So how does like he's supposed to just be advising them? How do the advisor come in the middle of that? What you call it? Like unless he's advising them that like he should, because for like what you call it is isn't Shelly Finkel Wilder's promoter?
No. Well, Shelly, this is very in the States. It's very complicated. Like in the States, you have the Ali Act, which means that a manager cannot be a promoter. In England, we don't have that issue. You can have a manager and a promoter at the same time, whereas in the States, you can't have a manager and a promoter. This is where Al Heyman, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Al Heyman has got a Heyman management group. So he's a manager. So when you sign with Al, and Al Heyman has a show, which is PBC, which is a show. So a lot of people get confused with PBC as a promotion. PBC is not a promotion; it's a television show. The same like The Contender, like Pop Idol, like, do you know what I mean? It's a show, so it's not a promotion. So a lot of people get confused with that. So because he cannot be promoter, he hires like promoters as separately. So for example, Lou DiBella is his main promoter on the American side, and you've got Poxton Sports, which is the promoter in the UK side. So Lou DiBella is the promoter. So he doesn't actually. So Deontay Wilder, none of the fighters that are on PBC has not got a promoter with them. They have their own promotional companies, but it's small. So he doesn't have a promotional company. So Al Heyman is his manager. So they say advisor, but it's like is a manager basically. He's advising.
So that's what I'm saying. So and in all actuality,
he's got Shelly Finkel as well, and he's got a third person. I don't know why. To be honest with you, that confused me. Why so many American fighters has 4 or 5 managers? Do you know what I mean? Jarrell Miller's got that issue as well. He's got 3 managers, and he's got all these contractual issues because every time he fights, he has to give a percentage to every one of his managers. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
anyways,
sounds like a lot of hands in your pocket.
Exactly. So a lot of the.
But my whole thing is, I was before I lose my point. I was saying my whole thing is, so that means that Al Heyman and Bob Arum actually doesn't have to sit across the table from each other.
And they do. I think they do have to because this
because of Al's because the way you said it, he has somebody else doing the promotion, so he can actually just send somebody else to sit in and then just look over the contract after. He doesn't really have to look across the table. I mean, in this day and age, you don't really have to do that anyway. You could just fax contract.
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with that. It's like Al Heyman. It's like Al Heyman is the PBC because this is the whole thing. It's very I don't want to go too much deep into it because it might bore a few people. But like Al Heyman and PBC, they've signed a contract with Fox Sports and Showtime. So the whole point of them paying, he's getting paid what, $120 million a year to show his fighters on Showtime and Fox Sports. So so you can imagine if you're a TV network and you're paying someone 120 million, and then all of a sudden one of your best fighters, Deontay Wilder, goes and fights Tyson Fury on ESPN, then Showtime is gonna go, wait a minute, what am I paying you 120 million for? I'm not paying you 120 million, so the fighter that your top fighters are going to go and find ESPN. Do you know what I mean? And that's the situation. And this is the problem with TV networks. This is why I said when Wilder signed with ESPN, it's going to be a problem because and even though Deontay Wilder said he's not signed to a network, he's not with a network, so he can effectively go on to ESPN or go on to that thing.
You kind of just went to my point because if Errol Spence and both what you call it and Porter, I was saying that they fight, that joint is gonna be on Fox 5.
What's that?
Remember earlier when I was saying like, yo, if Spence fight Porter, that's not gonna be pay-per-view because like with that deal, they're gonna say why you taking both the best fighters we have. And then, because remember the
no, but that's what I mean. It's gonna be on pay per view. This is the whole point.
Garcia and what you call it wasn't on pay per view, and that was a title fight. Garcia versus Thurman. That was on Fox 5.
Yeah, but the landscape has changed now. This is the whole point. I'm telling you, the Zone is paying serious money to fighters, and then they have to keep up. And the only way you're going to end up keeping up is by putting fights on pay-per-view. This is the whole reason why they're
No,
doing more pay. That's why you see
they
more
still
pay-per-views in the first 3 months than you've seen in the last year in pay-per-view fights. You're getting Khan versus Crawford. You're getting Pacquiao versus Broner. You're getting what was it, Spence
yeah,
versus
because
Mikey
those are
Garcia.
people.
You're getting all these pay-per-views coming up.
Those are those are.
Like
I
those,
mean to cut you off, but those are people from different countries. None of those fights that you name are from the same country. Think
yeah, but
about that.
that's not the point. The point is that if Errol Spence is gonna get $88 million to $10 million, and if this makes 340 million pay-per-view buys, he could potentially earn up to $15 million. So you're gonna try and convince Errol Spence from going on pay-per-view and earning potentially $15 million to say, okay, you go and fight Sean Porter, and you're gonna give you $4 million. It's not gonna happen, mate. It's not gonna happen.
You know what? That's why you think. Why you think Errol Spence said he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao next?
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Manny Pacquiao ain't fighting Errol Spence next.
I know. I feel that. Oh well, I feel that because I feel that Mikey's gonna win, so he might have to fight Errol Spence next. But I also feel that he wants that Manny Pacquiao fight too.
No, but no, everyone wants that Manny Pacquiao fight. Because he's a pay-per-view draw, so that is the fight that most people want. But if we're keeping it real, Pacquiao ain't fighting Errol Spence. He ain't fighting him. So we know we have to let the fans know that's not going to happen anytime soon. But what's more likely to happen is going to be Porter versus Spence and those kind of fights. But that's what it comes down to. Errol Spence is going to command a fee. He's going to say, look, I'm earning $8 million. I want to get $8 million per fight. And you can't be doing it on free TV. You're going to have to do pay-per-views. That's why they're doing so many pay-per-views now. And that's the truth. That's why they're doing pay-per-views.
I know what you're saying, but you miss looking at it though, because they did this fight on pay-per-view because it's two different markets. If you pit Sean Porter and Errol Spence, that's the same market. None of the Latino people or people in England, they're not buying that fight.
Yeah, but look, look, we can't say whether it's going to buy or not. All I'm saying is how they're looking at it. I'm telling you now, if they do Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, it's going to be on pay-per-view. It will be pay-per-view fight. Whether it makes the money that they're expecting it to be or not, then that's another story. But the whole point of putting Errol Spence on pay-per-view now is that if he's successful and he does 340 pay-per-view buys, he's going to earn 15 million. He wants to get similar or the same amount of money in his next fight. And if it's against Sean Porter, you're going to be very hard to convince Errol Spence to take less money on free TV. It's going to be very difficult. Spence is going to say, look, put this on pay-per-view.
It's going to be difficult because he's fighting for the title. That's why I think that's what you call it come from, and he know he's not gonna want to put up bad numbers. I was just trying to sit here and think, when was the last time two black fighters was on pay-per-view? And I think I had to go all the way back to Shane Mosley versus Mayweather.
Yeah.
And the only reason why that was on pay-per-view is because Mosley just knocked out Margarito, and people moved him up to like number 2 on the pound for pound list. He was like number 2 or number 3, and Mayweather took that fight because he couldn't make the Pacquiao fight happen. Like even when Timothy Bradley and Devin Alexander was both undefeated, looking very sharp, they still couldn't pick that on pay-per-view. You don't really see them.
Yeah, but the money's changed now. Back when PBC was doing it, they weren't getting paid by the networks. They were funding it themselves. Al Heyman had an investment group which was investing in the money and doing it on free TV. And when Keith Thurman and Sean Porter fought, they earned 2.5 and was it 2 million respectively in that fight. But the landscape has changed now. You're gonna have to pay these fighters more money. You got no choice about it. You're getting Tyson Fury getting 80 to 100 million dollars fighting in the States. You're getting Anthony Joshua earning up to $35 million fighting in the States. You go and convince Deontay Wilder, oh, sorry, you're going to continue getting paid what you was getting paid 2 years ago, when all these other heavyweight fighters are earning triple the amount of money that quadruple the amount of money that he's earning. And then you're going to Errol Spence. Eddie Hearn said, we're going to, for Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence, we're gonna pay them $8 million each for that fight, and we're gonna put it on the zone. And then they say, fine, if Errol Spence wins, he could potentially we'll pay Errol Spence $10 million a fight. So then you go Al Heyman is gonna try to convince Errol Spence, oh, we're gonna fight Sean Porter, we're gonna give you half the money, and it's gonna be on free TV. Why is he gonna accept that? That makes no sense whatsoever. So I know what you're saying, it's gonna be difficult to generate the money, but in this landscape, it's gonna be very difficult.
Numbers that you thinking. That fight is not a big pay-per-view fight.
It might not be a big pay-per-view fight, but but the whole point of it is that they're gonna have to make these fights big fights now. That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
Those numbers would flop.
It may flop, but the whole point is you have to start from somewhere. These to make Errol Spence a pay-per-view fighter, you have to start from somewhere, and this is where the Mikey Garcia fight starts from.
The best thing from that is he has to fight like other ethnic, like other groups. That's not gonna be
maybe down the line. Maybe he can go down that route.
That's why he won the Pacquiao fight.
But down the line, for him to be a consistent pay-per-view fighter, then he has to be consistently on pay-per-view for him to be a consistent pay-per-view fighter, and has to do well and has to win. That's the only way he's going to be a consistent pay-per-view fighter. Now, whether I think Sean Porter, like me, do I think personally that Mikey Garcia and Spence is a pay-per-view fight? I don't think it is a pay-per-view fight. Do I think Sean Porter? Yes. Do I think Sean Porter and Spence will be a pay-per-view fight? I think that's more of a pay-per-view fight than the Garcia fight, personally. But because it's a unification fight. You're facing somebody in your same weight class in a unification, whereas Spence is facing someone who's moving up 2 weight divisions, and he's small.
First of all, Mikey Garcia is a better boxer than Sean Porter. Secondly, he's a 4-division champion, about to be a
so was Adrian Broner. That don't mean nothing. Third, he has a whole country behind him. Like that, he has a way bigger fan base than Sean. Mikey
Porter.
Garcia has never been on pay-per-view,
but he has a bigger fan base than Sean Porter.
Well, we have to see. We have to wait and see. It's only 2 weeks away. This fight's happening now, so we'll see the numbers when it comes out.
I know he has a bigger fan base on what you call it, because you could look at from Instagram that he has more followers on Instagram than Porter.
Yeah, but how many of those are going to translate to people paying £75 for pay-per-view? That's where it comes down to. So then that statistic will go way down the line. So that's where
you calling it pounds, but for them I think it'll be
called $75. Yeah, $75.
Or pesos, because that's in the Mexican money. So that's what I'm saying. That's totally different. You know what furthers my point? Why you think Canelo Alvarez said, "I'm not fighting no more Mexican fighters"?
I don't know. I don't know if he said that. He said he's willing to fight Jamie Munguia. So
no, and then he said after that, "I'm not fighting no more Mexican fighters." Why? Because it's like when he does that. If he does that, it's just splitting up. He's just splitting up the people that are following them. It's not a. You understand? It's not.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter because it's even better if it's all Mexican, because that means that the whole of Mexico will be watching that fight because it's all Mexican.
But then
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's split. It doesn't matter if it's split or not, because they'll still pay that. They'll still pay the £75 or whatever it is. $75. Sorry.
It's not going to be as big as him versus Triple G. Well, Triple G's from a whole nother country. And then you got Triple G's country, you got Mexico, and you got the United States, you got the UK. Everybody's watching that. But if you got two people from the same, like, there'll be people that'll be turned off, like, yo, I'm not watching that. That happens a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We have to wait and see what happens. Look, with Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence, we have to see. But I can guarantee you this: if Errol Spence has a successful pay-per-view and he has, let's say, 340 or 500 pay-per-view buys, then I can guarantee you now that Errol Spence versus Sean Porter will be pay-per-view. There's no way they're going to put that for free. You have to, that's that. I mean, look, we'll see. What's in space. But back to Fury versus Wilder. Like, now, look, this is what I'm going to say about Tyson Fury. Yeah. Like, I was talking about from the business point of view. Look, he's making his money. Fair on him. But from the fans' point of view, And from a UK fan's point of view, I'm disappointed in Tyson Fury. Yeah, because number one, let's put it, number one. I said this before. He says, he's the people's champion. He's for the people. And that's the narrative that he was spinning when he fought Deontay Wilder. Coming back from drugs, illness, and all that to come back and fight Deontay Wilder. Well done. He did well. He drew, but it was well done. Number two, he said he's gonna fight. His next fight is gonna be in the UK. I want to fight in the UK because I owe my fans in the UK a homecoming fight. That's what Tyson Fury said. Yeah. Number three, he said, you know what? I'm gonna donate my purse to charity because I don't have need for money. I don't have no need for money. But then at the same time, number one, he's not fighting in the UK no more. He's fighting in the States. Number two, he signed a new $80 to $100 million deal. So what happened to all this, I don't care about money, I don't have no need for money, and blah, blah, blah that he was spinning, yeah? And number three, what happened to I want to fight the best now, all of a sudden? Yeah, because of the last interview when he came out, I don't control who I fight. ESPN just puts whatever's in front of me, and I just fight them. I've got no control. I don't have no control, blah, 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 blah. Yeah? One thing I've got to say about all that, bullshit. Yeah? It's bullshit. Tyson Fury, you sold the UK fans out. You sold them down the river, and because of you, this Wilder Fury 2 fight is not happening. And I don't want to hear you or Frank Warren talking about, it's out of my control and trying to blame it all on ESPN. No, it's you, Tyson Fury. You knew this was going to happen. You negotiated with ESPN since last year, September, and you knew this deal was going down, and that's why you didn't tell nobody about it. We knew as soon as this deal was signed that ESPN, that this fight was not going to happen. So this is purely on you. Shame on you, Fury. Shame on you. Anyways, that's my rant over. I just thought I had to get that off my chest because. Hey, Boxing Killers TV. Thanks for watching. So that's my rant over. So, hey, you guys, you got anything else you want to say about this Tyson Fury and Wilder thing? Oh yeah. What do you think about this? Deontay Wilder was speaking to the Boxing Voice. It's a good show. So he was saying about speaking to Eddie Hearn about he wants to make Wilder versus Joshua. So he's saying that he'll offer $15 million for Deontay Wilder to fight Dominic Breazeale or Dillian Whyte, and then he'll give him double to fight Anthony Joshua later on in the year. What do you think about that deal? Would you think Wilder should take that offer?
Oh, so he would basically sign in a 3-fight contract because
it'll basically be a 3-fight deal. One fight will be a warm up, and then the next one is going to be a 2-fight deal with Anthony Joshua. So effectively, if it all goes well, let's say that Wilder wins all 3 fights, he could get up to $100 million in 3 fights.
Boxing fan, yeah, as a boxing fan, I want to see that. But again, I'm not trying to be in nobody's pocket. That the money thing is really messing up, how the negotiations and fights, because nobody wants to bend and give the other person the A side and all of that. Let's about $15 million
to fight Dominic Breazeale. I mean, where's there to think about?
Yeah, the 15 million, the 15 million to fight Breazeale, but then what they giving him 30 for the first fight versus Joshua.
Yeah. So basically, he's saying that what Eddie Hearn is saying is that I'll give you your biggest ever payday, even more than what you got for Tyson Fury to fight Dominic Breazeale in a warm up fight, basically. Yeah, your biggest ever payday for a warm up. Yeah. Then I'm gonna double it. Then I'm gonna double it to fight Tyson to fight Anthony Joshua in the first fight. Yeah. And then if you win, you're probably going to get even more than that for the second fight.
But isn't he about to fight Brazil anyway? Regardless, right?
But then what they're doing is, but that's gonna be a mandatory. So WBC, they're gonna call it. I feel that they're gonna order it. They're gonna order that fight.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say to you earlier when you was like the person that that's really messed up. And you were saying that Wilder's the one that's left messed up, and I was thinking the person that's really left messed up is Dillian White.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about, if you're talking about out of everybody in there, Dillian White is the one that's messed up the most because he had the chance to take the AJ fight and he didn't take it, and now he's left with no dance partner. Who is he going to fight now? Chisora again? Joseph Parker? I mean, there is Povetkin is going to be fighting Usyk. Povetkin is going to be fighting Usyk. So
and tonight after Ortiz get this knockout, I know he don't want that Ortiz fight.
If I was Dillian White, the only fight really left for him to do is Luis Ortiz. Because I feel like Luis Ortiz is going to knock out Christian Hammer in a couple of rounds. So he's still going to be fresh. He's not going to be it's still going to be fresh. So then Dillian White can go to Ortiz, put in a good offer for Ortiz and fight him in the summer. That's what, if I was Dillian White, that's what I'd be looking to do. Because really, there's no other options for him. Who could Dillian White be facing?
He's going to get stretched.
It doesn't matter if he gets stretched or not. It's just that there's no other options. It does who's he that's the thing. Like we as fans, we just want to see good fights. We just want to see good fights.
And that's why I was saying was because the promotional thing was a little lost on me too. Because at first I thought when Tyson Fury took that and like how you said he want to fight in the UK. So I thought if he break off the fight with Wilder, Brazil would fight Wilder and he would fight White. But then I found out that the promotional obligations won't allow that to happen. So I'm thinking so who is Fury gonna fight? Because the Fury versus Dillian White would have been a good fight.
If we're basing it on what
in the UK.
If we're basing it on what hey JD, what's happening? Welcome to the show. So I mean, if you're basing it on what Tyson Fury says, he wants to fight Amir Khan next. He wants to fight Amir Khan next. If we're basing it on what Tyson Fury wants to do. I mean, look, now Tyson Fury Tyson Fury, I feel that Tyson Fury, now he's got that big payday, he don't really care no more. He don't care about fighting for world heavyweight champion. He made up his own belt, a lineal title. He's made up his own belt. And now he's just going to be fighting bums. That's why I think it's happening now.
Hold on, time out. Tyson Fury did not make up the lineal championship.
Y'all
gotta stop. People gotta stop knocking him from that because he didn't just make that up. That's been around long before him, and it's gonna be around long after him.
Yeah, but he's not the lineal. It's not the lineal champion though. That's what I mean. He's made himself a champion that no one ever made him a champion.
He is the lineal champion.
Huh?
He is the lineal champion.
No, it's not, because Lennox Lewis was the last. We went through this anyways, but he's not the lineal champion. So
how he's not?
Because Klitschko wasn't the lineal champion. He said he beat Klitschko, that made him the lineal, but Klitschko was not the lineal champion.
Because wait, hold on. Lennox gave up the titles, and Klitschko won all 4 titles, right?
Klitschko didn't win all 4 titles. He had 3. Vladimir had the other one.
And didn't Klitschko win that?
What's that? No, he didn't win that. They didn't win that. Wilder. No, because Klitschko, because Fink vacated it. I think it was Areola versus Stavern. Stavern won it, and then he fought Wilder, and Wilder beat him, and he got the WBC belt. So effectively, Klitschko wasn't a lineal champion. And when he fought Tyson Fury, it wasn't for the lineal championship. Yeah, it wasn't for the lineal championship. So Tyson Fury wasn't the lineal champion when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. So so he was never. So it was never lineal. The only time lineal has been talked about is since Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder. That's the only time when this lineal thing has come about. But Tyson Fury was not lineal champion. Like who? And people are saying that people picked Klitschko to be champion. Who picked him? Who announced him champion? Who announced him? Who picked him as a lineal champion?
Now I always thought he was. I was saying that too. I didn't realize. I thought when when Klitschko gave up the titles went up in not when Klitschko, when Fury gave up the titles went up in the tournament thingy like that, and then people started scraping them together like that. I thought Klitschko did have, or he won the other title when his brother gave up the title.
When you look, from far as I'm aware, when you have all the belts, then you become lineal. When Lennox Lewis became undisputed, there was only 3 belts at the time. There's only 3 belts at the time. I think the WBO was the last wasn't there at the time. It was only 3 belts, so he became undisputed, had all the belts. So that's when he was the lineal, because he was the undisputed champion, had all the belts. But since then there was a 4th belt. So then no one ever had all 4 belts. So if you have all 4 belts, then you are the undisputed, because you're the king of the division. Like Usyk is the lineal, because Usyk's got all 4 belts.
It's like Crawford at 140. He was the well, there was a couple of people that had it. Crawford had it. Ricky Hatton had it when he beat Costa Azul. He was the lineal champion. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So right now, Wilder's got 1. And then Joshua's got 3. So if them 2 fight, if Joshua or Wilder wins, they'll be lineal because they've got all 4 belts. They're undisputed. They've got all belts. They are the man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right about that. So
that's why when Tyson Fury is saying I'm the lineal, that doesn't mean not. That's why I'm saying. That's why people say that doesn't mean anything. Now don't get me wrong. On one side, it doesn't mean anything. I don't mean that the lineal means anything. I'm just talking about in regards to when Tyson Fury says it. It doesn't mean anything in relating to Tyson Fury. That's what I'm referring to. But yeah, I think back to the offer. I think that if I'm Deontay Wilder, I'll be looking at his options right now. If I was Deontay Wilder, I'll be looking at his options, because I think that Showtime and Fox Sports, they're a little bit of a bind right now. Because Dominic Brazil is not a pay-per-view fight. But then at the same time, you're getting people like Eddie Hearn saying, I'm going to offer you 15 million for you to fight Dominic Brazil on DAZN. So the question is that is Showtime or Fox Sports going to fork up £15 million and do a price match? Are they going to match what DAZN can offer Deontay Wilder to fight Dominic Brazil?
Yeah, but I doubt it. But it'd be more smart. All right, but it'd still be more smart for him to build their names up on Fox.
Fox is the bigger network, but are they paying? But the thing is, they're not paying the money. Triple. I haven't posted it yet, but Triple G is next week supposed to announce his joining DAZN. So he's going to be looking to rumors are saying that he's going to be joining DAZN next week officially, and his contract is going to be upwards of 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting DAZN, who's willing to pay fighters serious money to fight on their platform.
Yeah, but when you fight on DAZN, that's going to be a flat fee.
Yeah, but it don't matter when that flat fee is more than your pay-per-view and your whole purse put together, then it don't matter. Canelo's getting a flat fee of 365 million. I don't mind that kind of flat fee. People get obsessed with flat fees. Like, if someone says to you, you can get a pay-per-view and a flat fee and you're only getting 12 million, but then someone says, fine, I'll give you a flat fee of 20. You're taking the 20 because it's more money. It doesn't matter.
But remember how but the same way that you was explaining the Errol Spence situation, like, oh, he fight now and then the pay-per-view, that's almost the same. You could say the same thing for Wilder, because you got to think about it. He's saying he has to think too. If I go to DAZN, all the people that watch me is going to just subscribe to DAZN. So yeah, all of those people that did that, they would have bought my fight.
Yeah. But the thing is, they boxers don't care about who's watching what. Like, Deontay Wilder can go and fight whoever on pay-per-view. If he's getting 20 million per fight, it doesn't matter if it's 20 people watching or 5 people watching, as long as he's getting paid. That's how fighters think. Do you know what I mean? Like Anthony Joshua's fighting on DAZN. Like, and there's probably going to be what 300,000 people watching that fight. He don't care. He's getting paid $35 billion. If he cared about who's watching the fight, that fight will be on ESPN or Fox or Showtime. Do you know what I mean? Because people are thinking about how much they're getting paid. Why do you think Canelo's the same thing. He's getting paid $365 million. He don't care about how many people's watching his fights.
He do though, because you know why I said he do care, because he signed and he could have went the pay-per-view route, but he like in a way that's why you're right. I do kind of hope that thing. Now that you just explained it like that, I do hope that he signed with the Zone. I hope all of them signed with the Zone and in this pay-per-view crap from the beginning. Paying $70 and $60 for a pay-per-view is horrible.
God, my things went.
I know. I just seen everything just sit down. I got you. I'm gonna still hold it down. But paying that money for a pay-per-view is horrible. Especially when they can put it on the Zone and that's $10 a month. And they can still, cause look, think about it. If the WWE did it, then boxing can do it too.
Yeah, man. Look, I mean, this is the thing, cause like end of the day, for the fans, it makes sense. $10 a month or pay $75, on pay per view, or on pay per view. Then obviously it makes sense to pay $10 on pay per view. So, but in regards to, but that's what I mean. It's like fighters like Deontay Wilder should be his loyalty is with Showtime. So if I was Deontay Wilder, he should be doing what Tyson Fury did. He should be looking around and going to all the networks and saying, okay, I'm interested in going with you. How much are you going to be paying me? Get all the offers. It's the same thing like what we would do. If you're buying a TV, you go and shop around, isn't it? For the best deal. So you go around, collect all the best deals, all the best offers, and then you go to Showtime and go, look, Showtime, I'm loyal to you. I fought on your network since the beginning, and I want to stay. However, the Zone is offering me $20 million to fight Brazil. ESPN is offering me $15 million to fight Brazil. So how much are you going to be paying me to fight Dominic Brazil? I'm looking for around that same figure. Now, because it's Showtime, I'm not asking you to pay me $20 million like the Zone is. But if you could give me 17.5, 15 million maybe, then I would rather stay with you guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understood. Like that do make sense, because you're saying like, yo, I'll take a little pay cut and stay loyal, but not too much of a pay cut. I take that do make sense. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I was also saying that he could tell him like, yo, look, I go over there, know what I mean? I knock out Brazil. I get the Joshua fight. I beat him. I beat him twice, and then after that, the rest of my fights is back on what you call it. Unless if they could put the promotion like, yo, the first fight is on the Zone, the rematch is on Showtime.
Yeah, that's part of the negotiations of how it's going to work out, because this is why it's so difficult going on a network, because if Joshua and Wilder is going to be a pay-per-view fight, so then it's going to be difficult. So if the first fight goes on the Zone, the fans are going to be paying $10, but then all of a sudden the next fight is going to be on Showtime, and then you're going to pay $75. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're a fan, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, I paid $10 before. Why am I gonna pay $75 towards the same fight?
I mean,
do you know what I mean?
You'll pay $75 for the rematch.
Yeah. So for a fan, it doesn't make sense. Like money wise, that's where the problem is. So it's even.
I can see the rematch being costing more than the original. It's nothing that happens a lot. You like, it's like a car. A car comes out the 2019 version of a car. You know what I mean? In 2020, it should cost more than the car did in 2019.
Say that again.
I was saying, I could see that.
Sorry. One sec. Let's look at the chat. The Zone flat fee is better than money not guaranteed on pay per view. So that's our comment from JD in the chat. So go on. So what are you saying?
Nah, yeah, that do sound good too. But there's always the benefit you don't know of how much you're gonna make. But you're right that with the pay per view, a lot of people might stream it anyway. So you're not gonna because you know how many. I wonder if they would add how many people streamed that Tyson Fury and Wilder fight. That's probably that's mad people mad buys that they didn't get.
Yeah, I know, but and that's the problem. The reason why people are doing illegal streaming is because the price point is too high. And that's the price point is too high. You can imagine it now, like you've got free pay. You got what was it? Pacquiao versus Broner. You've got Spence versus Garcia. And then am I missing another pay per view? What's the third one? Oh yeah, Khan versus Crawford. There's a lot of pay per views. That's pretty much one every month. Nearly one every month. So you're paying literally £75 a month plus your normal ESPN or Fox or whatever subscription fees you're paying on top of that. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of money you're spending. So then you're gonna thinking like, if I'll probably buy the Khan fight, but I'll stream the Garcia fight, or I'll buy the Garcia fight and I'll stream the Khan fight. Do you know what I mean? It's just like this is why there's so much illegal streaming right now, because the money's too much.
Yeah, I can see a lot of people streaming that Khan and Crawford fight.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where the problem lies. Like, and this is where DAZN is gonna sneak in and take some of that market space, because that's what they're banking on. They're banking on spending big money, because when you think about it, like the biggest fight that's been made this year is Canelo Jacobs, and that's on DAZN. And the biggest heavyweight fight this year is Joshua versus Miller on DAZN.
For real, I guess maybe I'm a fan, but I still like the Mikey Garcia Errol Spence fight more than that fight.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean that's a good fight.
Because Mikey still won more titles than the rest of them, so it's like, and they're both still undefeated. Like what you calling them? They both have losses already. That fight is more undefeated. So,
but I know, but that's the thing. But the problem is that a lot of people don't think that Garcia has a chance. They just don't see it. Like, it's like Khan versus Canelo. Like, it's like Brook versus Triple G. Yes, he's gonna go up two weight. It's going up not one but two weight classes to fight Spence. And you just think that that's too much of a big jump.
But this,
you know what I mean?
But on that note, though, Mike Garcia is a better boxer than Khan and Brooks. And Canelo's better than Spence.
Yeah, but then you can say he's a bigger boxer, but then you're looking at the weight difference. It's like some of the shots that he would normally do at 140, or even below that, 135, I think. But even those shots you can get away with, it's not gonna get away with those at 147. The question is his power gonna go up in those weight divisions? And let's put it this way: he didn't really rock Broner when he fought Broner. He didn't really rock him or anything like that with Broner, and that was
he just outboxed him.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, but that's at a lower weight division. But now he's moving up to 147. It's gonna be a completely different kettle of fish. You're facing someone that should be a middleweight. He's fighting someone that should be a middleweight. There's no rehydration clause. There's no rehydration clause as well.
That's it is. That's the IBF. They can't wait over one.
Oh yeah, it's the IBF, isn't it? Oh yeah, it's IBF.
So it is a what you call it.
Yeah.
The 10 pounds. It's 10 pounds. That's good.
Yeah. Wait a minute, someone's just come on.
That was
Hey man, on Rival Boxing, how's it going?
I'm not bad, Edge. How's it going, YG?
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. We're just talking about boxing at the moment. We just started talking about Wilder Fury 2 being postponed. Who is to blame, Tyson Fury or Wilder? I did my rant. I had to get off my chest, so and I blamed it squarely on Fury. Let's hear what your point of view on the whole situation. What's your view?
I don't blame the fighters. I blame promoters. And I'll leave it at that. I blame Top Rank. I blame ESPN because they said that he wasn't fighting Wilder next. They said it. They're the ones paying him. So they're the ones who make the fights. They're the ones who are calling the shots. Fury can't just say, I want to fight Wilder next. Make it happen. And they're going to say yes. It's up to them. and they decided no because they want to drag out this deal as long as they can. Because if they lose him, there's no point in keeping him for 4 more fights. Like if he loses, so they want to get the most out of their investment. So there you go. That's my opinion.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Nice, short and sweet. That's how we like it. So, hey, you know what? We've been talking about Eddie Hearn offering Deontay Wilder 15 million to fight Dominic Brazil, plus pretty much double to fight Deontay Wilder. So pretty much a free fight deal. Do you think Deontay Wilder should take that offer?
Well, Wilder had an interview with, I think it was Blue Blood, and he said he's not even interested in talking to Eddie Hearn. He doesn't believe anything he says, so that doesn't look like it's even going to happen. If I'm Deontay Wilder, I'm taking 15 million to fight against Dominic Brazil like that. But the one thing that I would like to say is, Eddie Hearn offered him to fight opponents, right? He offered him to fight Kovnatsky, Brazil, or who was the other one? Was it Dillian White? Yeah, for 15 million. One of those fighters he has access to. The other two, that's like me turning around, Edge, and saying, let's say I'm Frank Warren, yeah? And I turn around and I say to Deontay Wilder, I'm going to give you 15 million to fight against Anthony Joshua. He doesn't have those fighters. They're not signed to him. He's just offering it. Like, it doesn't make much sense. He shouldn't be doing shit like that. I don't care whether they're a free agent or not. Kovnatsky, like, whatever. Like, you can't be going around offering an amount of money to one fighter without another fighter signed to you. That's just bullshit.
But Dillian White's not signed to him either. Yeah,
so to me, it's a bit bullshit. In all honesty.
But I understand where he's trying to get at. He's trying to entice, because he knows that if he throws Dillian White in there, he won't take it. So it's like, fine, look, we'll give you an easy one. We'll give you Dominic Brazil. We'll give you Kyle Naki. Look, do you know what I mean? Like, and he thinks that, look, if he does the deal with Wilder, let's say he does the deal with Wilder, that means he's got Al Heyman's consent. So that means that Al Heyman is more likely to release another one of his fighters to fight Wilder on the platform. If he allows it, do you know what I mean?
He's not trying to negotiate with Al Heyman, though. He's not trying to negotiate with Al Heyman. He's trying to negotiate with Wilder personally.
Yeah, but it's Al Heyman. But for his plan to work, he has to get Al Heyman on side because he has to release the fighters. Kyle Naki and Brazil are Al Heyman fighters. So the plan to work.
Yeah, they are Al Heyman fighters, but what he's doing is he's making an offer while they're Al Heyman fighters. These guys aren't released, so it's just nonsense to me. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's something that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, but he has to get something out there because Wilder's team has not speaking, not replying to emails, not talking. Do you know what I mean? So you have to if he's not talk, the only way he can communicate with Wilder is through the media. Let's interrupt in the chat. Hey, Hammer92, you're back. What's going on? Hamad says the Boogeyman fights Hammer tonight. Yes, we're gonna be talking about that. And Aobs, what's happening? Welcome to the chat. Always good to see you, man. You and EJ Boxing. I like you guys having your debates. So I understand it. I don't like people. Look, I mean, I'm a little bit hypocritical because they say I don't like people talking about negotiating in public. But we, as the media, we love it because it gives us something to talk about. But in business practice, you shouldn't really be discussing negotiation offers in public. Really, you should be negotiating it in private. But in Eddie Hearn's case, I think he's doing it because he was speaking to the Boxing Voice at the time, and he knows that Nez has got links with Deontay Wilder. So he's hoping that if he can throw numbers out, Nez will probably get back to Wilder and say, "Look, Wilder, come on, man, speak to Eddie, man. 5 minutes, man. Come on." Do you know what I mean? I think that was the point of it. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what he was trying to get at. So,
but still, this one was with Blue Blood. Anyway, beside the point, you talk
about the Wilder interview.
The 15 million.
No, that was on the Boxing Voice.
On the Boxing Voice, and then Wilder came out. No, you're right. Anyway, the whole thing for me is, If it's a real, genuine offer and he does have permission to use Dominic Breazeale in a fight for Wilder should take the 15 million. That's my own personal opinion. You should be taking 15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Low Place brought this up the other day, right? And I researched, and Low Place is correct on this.
Yeah.
There is no opponent outside of Anthony Joshua who has made more than $80,000 to fight against Dominic Breazeale.
So made more than $80,000 to fight Breazeale. What do you mean?
Other than Anthony Joshua, nobody's been given more than $80,000 to fight Dominic Breazeale. Nobody. Amir Mansour, Agano got $35,000. Amir Mansour got $28,000. Negron got $26,000. Nobody has gotten more than $80,000 to fight against Dominic Breazeale.
Yeah. Okay. So what's that got to do with Wilder though? Because he's gonna get more. He's getting way more than that.
Yeah, but what it means is you should be taking that. This is a guy who people only get 30 to 40 grand to fight. This is a guy who you can beat. And whether we have biases or not, we all know Wilder will knock out Breazeale. We all know that. Breazeale's too slow. He's tough, but he's too slow. Or Wilder will beat him on points. One or the other. Breazeale ain't knocking Wilder out. Wilder beats Breazeale.
But I don't know. But I think that
15 million. Mate, people are calling this a tune-up. People are calling Breazeale a tune-up. This is a mandatory and he's a tune-up. 15 million for a tune-up fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing.
Take that every day. That's Anthony Joshua money.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though, because this is the dilemma where it comes down to, because I know that Wilder said, I think was he on Blue Blood? I think he said that he prefers to fight Anthony Joshua now, but Anthony Joshua has to come correct to the table with the correct amount of money that he wants. So now he's saying he's now more open to fight Anthony Joshua now than he was before. So, and
maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I have no idea, right? All I know is Wilder should take 15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale.
I think that, look, if the offer is legit, I think that at least he should listen to what Eddie Hearn is saying. If I was him, I'll say, look, okay, you pissed me off last year for whatever reason. So
I'm going to ask you a question, Edge. How much did Wilder make for fighting Fury?
He made like 4 million, but I think overall he made like roughly about 12 million.
Yeah. He's being offered more money to fight Dominic Breazeale. If that is a real offer, you take that. You take that and you run.
That's what I mean. Like, but this is
because Joshua only got 9 million against Breazeale.
Yeah. And some of that money is going to be DAZN money. That's the reasons why it's getting topped up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're getting DAZN money on top, that's going to be big money. So if someone's saying to you, you're going to get 15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale, you have to take that. I mean, like, you know, you're getting more than what you got paid for Tyson Fury, your toughest fight, to fight Dominic Breazeale in a tune-up. But that fight is part of a free fight deal. So that part of the and also this is important.
And then afterwards you have 60-40 with Joshua, which is good, which will be in America, is what Eddie said. Didn't he say it would be in America?
Yeah. And also you have to remember this. Wilder said a while ago that I want Joshua as part of the contract. Remember that, yeah? People say, well, I want Joshua as part of the contract. I will fight this person. If Wilder is part of the contract, I'll fight him next. So what Eddie Hearn is saying now, I'm going to give you your biggest payday ever to fight a tune-up fight against Dominic Breazeale. Then I'm going to double it to fight Anthony Joshua in the first fight. Next, you snap his hand off. He offered you 15 million to fight Joshua over a year ago. Yeah. And now he's offering you 15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale.
And if Wilder wins, there's a rematch clause in there for him to get like 50-50 or something like that as well, I think is what they were discussing. Yeah. So if we're being honest, the first fight's probably a $60 million fight.
Yeah.
Maybe more. But let's say it's 60 million. If he gets 40% of that, right? That's what? That's 24 million?
Yeah, but the thing is...
So, and then in the next one, if he gets 50-50 of another 60, that's 30, right? So that's 54 and 15. That's 69 million for 3 fights.
Well, one thing you have to watch out for, like, this is the thing. I said, I knew this from the time ago he's going to fight Dominic Breazeale next. we have to watch. We have to look at this, and we have to look at what we have to watch what Wilder's next move very carefully is. Yeah, we'll talk about Dillian. We spoke about Dillian White anyway. He's the one that's left out in the cold right now. But Deontay Wilder has to watch what his next move very carefully now, because if he's smart, like he would have done what Tyson Fury did. Look around at all the offers, and then go back to Showtime and say, Eddie Hearn has offered me $15 million. What are you going to offer me for fight Dominic Brazil?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And they should be either price matching it or not. But like I asked this to YG before, do you think that Showtime will price match DAZN's offer of $15 million to fight Dominic Brazil?
I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea.
I don't think they will. I don't think
they can.
Like, because you have to think about it. Like,
that fight's not going to be pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They can't sell that on pay-per-view, and if they try to, it's only going to do like 60K boys max.
And that's the problem, like, at the moment, because you have to remember this, yeah? Like Al Heyman is getting, what was it? Is he getting 60 million? He's getting $60 million a year from Showtime and $60 million from Fox. So that means that $50 million is coming out of that budget straight off.
That's
the bat.
12.5. That's 12.5%.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's not 12.5%. That's 25% off the budget.
What?
Yeah, because it's
15 million of 120.
No. You have to remember, it's 60 from Showtime and 60 from Fox. So
I was just doing the combined amount. of his total budget. But if it's from Showtime alone, yeah, it's 25%.
Yeah, so effectively, you're going to waste 25% on a budget on a fight against a fighter that he should win. That's not going to generate any interest. That's not going to make no money from at all. That's basically $50 million down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the problem that Showtime have, and that's the problem that Fox have at the moment. That the zone is willing to spend serious, over the top money for fights, and do they have the money to compete? That's the question.
I don't know. But all I know is like the market's inflating, and we'll see how it pans out over the next few weeks. But like, if you're Wilder, try and get the most amount of money you can for your next fight, mate. Just try. Because like, you're not fighting Fury, you're not going to be fighting Joshua in your next fight unless you're waiting until like November for your next fight, because that's when Joshua will pretty much be free again.
I'm gonna be interested to see who he fights next. Watch this space. You're probably going to see an announcement soon of Wilder versus Brazil. That's going to be the fight that's most likely going to happen. And if that fight happens, that's going to leave Dillian White in the cold. He's got no one to fight.
Well, if that's the case, do you know what Eddie Hearn should do? Eddie Hearn should put on. He should try and get. He should try and get Dillian White against what's his face. He should get Dillian White against Kavnatsky.
I don't know. I don't think he will take that fight. I don't think Kavnatsky will take it.
I think Kavnatsky might. The amount of ranking points would be so high.
Yeah, but I just don't think that Kavnatsky will look at that and think, why do I need to take the risk now against Dillian White? It's going to be in the UK. It's going to be a risky fight for him. I just don't know. Hey guys, in the chat, put in the chat, what do you think of Unrivaled Boxing's opinion? He says Kavnatsky to fight Dillian White, as all the other opponents are currently in fights. What do you guys think of it? I'll give you my opinion on it. I think that'll be a good fight. I would like that fight to happen. I think that'll be a good fight. Kavnatsky just came off a fight. He'll be ready for June, July. Dillian White needs an opponent. That'll be a decent name. But the question is, would that be a pay-per-view fight in the UK? I don't think so, because I don't think no one knows who Kavnatsky is.
I think it doesn't. I think it probably won't be pay-per-view.
And that's
but I think the zone will want that fight, and I think Dillian White will get enough money through the DAZN thing for that fight. If I'm being honest,
I don't know. I think they spent most of the heavyweight budget on Joshua. I mean, this is it all comes down to, look. I mean, Dillian White, he's made it known that his next fight he wants it on pay-per-view. So
I mean, I don't think they spent most of their heavyweight budget on Joshua, considering they were willing to offer Wilder 15 million to take on Dominic Breazeale. I'm sure they can give Dillian White 4 million for Kanatsky.
God, yeah, but that's on the basis of Wilder fighting Joshua later down the line. Whereas with White, there's no fight with Joshua down the line. But no, we'll see. I think that'll be a good fight. You know, one fight I mentioned was Luis Ortiz. That's the fight I mentioned because he's fighting today. He's fighting tonight against Christian Hammer.
Hammer, yeah.
Yeah. So Ortiz should dispatch of him easily. Okay, give it 4 or 5 rounds, maybe tops. Yeah, it shouldn't last longer than that. He should be fresh.
I think people are underrating how difficult it is to knock out Christian Hammer. Christian Hammer's a difficult guy to like get hold of. He is difficult, and Ortiz is not a top end come forward fighter. So do not be surprised if this fight goes rounds, man. Don't be surprised. I'm predicting Ortiz late.
Yeah, but if it goes rounds, I don't think he's going to take too much punishment where he's going to go. This will be more like a sparring session. Tops.
This will be a very boring sparring session that could probably go 8, 9, 10 rounds, man.
Yeah, exactly. So
it is a 10-round fight. It is a 10-round fight.
Exactly. So, but I think that he won't take too much punishment, and I think that he can look at it and think, you know what, I didn't take too much punishment. Yeah, it was a good 10-round sparring session, and I think I could. And if a good offer comes from Dillian White, I will take that, and I will fight in July. And let's say, look, what day is it? March. So look, it's got March, April, May, June, July. That's 4 months. So effectively, he can easily have an 8-week training camp to fight at the end of July. So I think that fight will be doable. And that's the only fight possibly he could easily put on pay-per-view in the UK if they were to do it. Do it, and I think that Sky would want to put that fight on pay-per-view in the UK. You know, because in the day, it's easy enough to say DAZN, but Sky wants some of the big heavyweight fights. And if I was Dillian White, I'll be looking to fight Ortiz before Joshua does. Because Joshua said he's going to fight Ortiz after Miller. So if I was Dillian White, I'll get a march on him straight, beat Ortiz, and then do you know what I mean? That's what if I was Dillian White. But you
make it sound so simple. If I was Dillian White, I'd just go beat Luis Ortiz. Yeah, let's just go beat up Luis Ortiz. He's pissed, isn't he? He's a top-end heavyweight, whether people want to admit it or not, or people say he's the best heavyweight, or he's like the second best heavyweight, or he's the 8th best heavyweight. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we all agree Luis Ortiz is a top 10 heavyweight. We all agree.
He's a top 10 heavyweight, but I'm looking at it from a point of view, from White's point of view, because, you know, White needs opponents right now.
Dillian White is not looking at Luis Ortiz thinking, let me just go beat him. He's thinking, I might not get enough money for this fight, and it's a fucking hard fight. Because Ortiz is better than Chisora, and I went life and death with Chisora twice before I knocked him out on the second one. Like, that's the honest truth. And Derek Chisora is possibly the same age as fucking Luis Ortiz. Let's not forget, Derek Chisora is definitely not 32, man. He's at least 40.
Yeah, I mean, this is Luis Ortiz is... Look, either way you look at it, Dillian White needs an opponent. Number one, what opponent is going to be marketable? What opponent is going to earn Dillian White money? What opponent will the fans will accept? You know, and there's all the factors that comes into play when it comes to Dillian White's next opponent. I'm personally very surprised he's not fighting against Povetkin. Yeah, he's fighting Usyk. That's why. That fight's pretty much.
But that's why. Like, I would have thought that would have been a fucking great fight for Dillian White, and it would have been marketable in the UK, and it's a good opponent. And people in the UK know who Povetkin is more than they know who Luis Ortiz is.
Yeah, but you know, he thought he was getting the Dominic Breazeale fight. That's why. You put all his eggs in the Brazil basket. He didn't really want to fight Povetkin. He was in all the interviews. He was saying Dominic Breazeale, Eddie Hearn better get me that fight. He wants Dominic Breazeale. That's all he's been talking about. All his interviews. So he put all his eggs in the Brazil basket, you know. And now he's getting. Like, that's what I'm saying. Too many fighters are putting all their eggs in one basket. They need options, man. They need options. Plan A, Plan B. And now what's Dillian White's Plan B? He ain't got none. So it'll be interesting to see who Dillian White is going to be facing next. I hope it's not Chisora White 3. That's all right. I don't care who else. I know Kalnaki is a good fight.
Just want to say this right now, yeah? Do not be surprised if Dillian White has a quick tune-up against somebody like David Price. Just don't be surprised.
I just don't know about that. I just don't know. I mean, look.
He had one against Lucas Brown, right? He had one of them against Lucas Brown. Edge. Lucas Brown hadn't. No, stop. Lucas Brown hadn't fought in over 2 years, and they knew what type of shape he was in. No, they knew what type of shape he was in, and he had 6 weeks notice, man. 6 weeks notice after 2 years. That is a tune-up. That's a tune-up. No, come on. The Lucas Brown who came in there that night, Edge, you could have beat him.
Yeah. No, don't be wrong. I'm not saying like the condition.
They knew that was not a legit fight. That was not. I went to the fight. That was not. But they knew, and it proved it wasn't a legit fight. That was a complete tune-up. If you're saying Lucas Brown isn't a fucking tune-up, but you agree that Dominic Breazeale is a tune-up, there's something wrong there. Because Lucas Brown, at his best, was a drug cheat who won a regular belt from a 46-year-old Shagoyev.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, you know, the way you're saying is like, it's like Lucas Brown, he's a former champion. It's not like I'm going to say tune-up.
No, he's not. He's a former regular belt holder. That's not a real world champion.
Yeah, but
the regular belt doesn't mean shit. You don't look at any of these weight divisions and count 5 champions and say, oh, well, he's got the regular belt. You don't look at the heavyweight division and say Manuel Char's a world champion. You say he's got the regular belt.
Hey, do you know what? Let's look at the chat. It says Hamed92 says shows how bad Brazil's level of competition is and how much Al underpays the opposition. Yeah, like everyone's talking about Al Heyman like he pays people a lot of money. Forget Mayweather. Put Mayweather aside, yeah, because everyone looks at Mayweather as an example. He's an exceptional case. He's the only boxer that gets paid like 75 million, 100 million a pound a fight. Everybody, all the other boxers these days are getting paid what normal fighters will get paid. Do you know what I mean? Like, so let's look at that. Ayob says Lucas Brown is not a tune-up. That was one of the biggest names for White at the time. And Ayob says Brazil is a tune-up for Wilder, not White. So Ayob saying Lucas Brown was not a tune-up. I mean, like I say,
I'm going to say this right now. Look, I'm going to say this right now. Dominic Breazeale would be the 3rd highest ranked opponent that Wilder would have ever fought. Right now, when Dillian White got in there with Lucas Brown, right, in terms of name and quality, Dillian White had already beaten Derek Chisora and he had already beaten Robert Helenius, both of which, in my opinion, are better than Lucas Brown.
Okay, all right. I mean, look, it's all games of opinions at the end of the day. Hey, Fight Doctor in the house. How's it going? Yeah, welcome to the show. We're talking about Lucas Brown, how Lucas Brown is a tune-up for Dillian White. And also we're talking about who Dillian White should be fighting next because he's out in the cold right now. While Tyson Fury is going to be fighting a bum, probably Oscar Rivas or another no-name opponent that we've never heard of, like Safiri or something like that.
What is with this? What is with this bullshit of every fighter is apparently a bum if they're not one of the 3-4 champions? Like, I'm getting sick of that. Like, I really am. Oscar Rivas just got over a knockout victory over Brian Jennings. That's not a bad win. That is not a bad fucking victory. He's not a bum. He's not amazing, but he's not a bum. In comparison to Fury, yeah, he's not as good, but he's no bum. He'd knock out a real bum as Dave Allen. He'd fucking kick the shit out of Dave Allen.
I thought you said
that's a bum. We're talking guys who are in the top 20, man. We're talking top 20 world heavyweights here. They're not bums.
Hey, don't let Dave Allen hear you say that.
Dave Allen's a fat fuck.
Hey, do you know what? Yeah, you just said, let's stop talking about bums. The next thing you know, you start saying Dave Allen's a bum. Come on now. But yeah, look.
Nah, he is a bum.
Look, at the end of the day, Tyson. Look, I'm just going based on Tyson Fury. He says like bum. He says bums all the time. But look, the point is that all the other fighters are going to be occupied fighting fights, and Dillian White is going to be left out in the cold. So, hey, Fight Doctor, if you're in the house, Obs, who do you think Dillian White should be fighting next? What do you think would be a good fight for Dillian White fighting in the summertime? Because we know he ain't fighting April the 20th. Look, there's lots of options. There's what about the Joseph Parker rematch? Would you be interested in that?
No.
Okay, that was that.
I'm not interested in most of these fights, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm really not. Like, the truth is, I'm just waiting until the main fights happen. Like, if Dillian White fights Joseph Parker in a rematch, fantastic. Good. Let's see the fight. It was a very good fight the first time. Let's see how it goes the second time. Whatever. If Dillian White fights Kavnatsky, it's a very good fight. I'm happy to see it. If Dillian White fights Kubrat Pulev, it's a good fight. I'm happy to see it. If Dillian White fights Luis Ortiz, it's a good fight. I'm happy to see it. If Dillian White fights Fury or Wilder or some shit, it's a good fight. I'm happy to see it. But long story short is, I don't favor one fight over another. It's all just a lot of fights that can happen. And people are just going to be like, oh, he's left in the cold. The one thing I don't want to see happen is him to have a rematch with Lucas Brown or Dave Allen.
Yeah,
that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see him fighting at the bottom of the garbage can.
Yeah. I mean, look, as long as this is the main thing, as long as we think it's a good, entertaining, interesting fight, I don't mind who Dillian White fights. I just hope that something pops out. Like Aobs is in the chat saying White should fight Ortiz in July. Aobs says not much for White. Yeah, so he's in agreement saying Ortiz in July. I would like to see him fight Ortiz. I don't think that will happen. I think that Naki will be more likely to happen than it will be for Dillian White. But out of Naki, or no, I would like to see Ortiz versus Dillian White. I hope that fight happens. It'll be interesting to see now what Dillian White says, because he's got his own YouTube channel. And he likes to talk a lot about this. So I'd like to see who he wants to fight next, now that Brazil looks like it's going to be fighting Wilder. So that will be interesting to see. So yeah, I mean, do you have any other, before we move on to the next ones, do you have any other opinions on it, or?
No.
No. None. All right, pretty much. All right. Hey guys, if you're liking this chat show, hit that like button. If you're watching this show for the first time, hit that subscribe button. We'll do shows at least twice a week, and this is how we roll. Hey, now let's talk about Canelo and Jacobs, their press conferences and their press tours. What do you guys?
It was boring.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. It's before we go into that, let's have a look. Ayob says White says AJ is the Lance Armstrong of boxing. Look, Dillian White shouldn't say anything because he got caught. He got Jarrell Miller and Dillian White. They got caught with drugs. So Dillian White got done
for geranium root, right? That's what he was done for. Yeah, Anthony Joshua is being accused of getting TUEs for testosterone.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. He hasn't been tested positive. So if he's tested positive, then fair enough. If
he gets a TUE, it doesn't matter if it's positive or not.
But the whole point is.
Do you know what TUE stands for, Edge?
Testosterone.
It's a therapeutic use exemption. It means that you're using it for either therapeutic needs or for health reasons, yeah? And you get a use exemption for it. So if that is true, Anthony Joshua shouldn't be fighting. If he's getting TUEs because it's UCAD who are giving him the TUEs.
No, but he's getting tested by VADA and USADA, so he's getting tested by two governing bodies. The same thing what happened with Billy Joe Saunders. He was fine with UCAD. And he got tested positive with VADA. There's two different governing bodies, and they test differently. So if he was testing,
but he wasn't testing under those bodies when he was getting the TUEs. This is going back 18 months ago. He wasn't being tested.
He gets tested. He's got three testing bodies.
Yes, over the last 15 since he picked up the IBF, yeah, he got 2, right, and then he got to 3, right. After that. However, this is going back to before that. They're talking about before he became a world champion, he got TUEs. TUEs for testosterone use before he became a world champion. And if that is true, it will be investigated by WADA, man. If that is true.
You know, but like, the whole point is that it's an ongoing investigation, and there's no investigation on it, and there's no proof on it. It's just speculation and hearsay and people talking about stuff. So there's no speculation on it. So at the end of the day, you can't criticize a fighter when he hasn't been proven or tested positive for any drugs or anything yet. Do you know what I mean? So wait a minute.
It's going to be one of the most boring issues in sport. Did AJ do testosterone when he was, fighting nobodies? It's going to be so boring, bro.
Yeah, when he was fighting Dillian White.
It's going to be so boring.
Yeah, but he's been tested. He's been tested by 3 governing bodies. So if he was tested, like I said with Billy Joe Saunders, if he was tested positive by VADA and you'll be tested positive with one of the governing bodies at least. If he was tested
all the
positive,
YouTube,
it's not.
All the YouTube scientists coming out the works, bro. Get ready. Get ready.
Hey, everybody.
He took colostorodol, and colostorodol has this properties, and it's like, oh my fucking goodness, bro. Like, like VADA just came right up a damn page that you don't know shit about. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, if you ain't doing the schoolwork on it, maybe just shut the fuck up. Maybe I don't know. All these motherfuckers dirty. If you ask me, they all dirty. They at the gym, whatever.
Yes. So so let me just introduce everybody. It's Low Places. Come on, guys. So welcome. So everyone's on drugs. Everybody, that's it.
Yeah, taking clostopinapine, all these big names. Trust me. Here we go. We've been through this so many times. So boring. I don't know. Oh my god.
You know what? Speaking about boring, let's talk about Canelo and the Jacobs press conferences so far.
Yeah, that big ear motherfucker been boring, man. I ain't gonna front. Canelo got an excuse. He can't even speak. It's at least to his people, he probably ain't so boring. He say little slick shit. And, but Danny Jacobs a fucking bore. Me, I just want to be the best. And when I think about beating Canelo, I think about being the best with my pinstripe coat on and my big fat ass Dumbo ears. And the next thing you know, if I do it, I know I'm going to be the best in the middleweight division. Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man.
the most entertaining person in that press conference was Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is the most entertaining person in that press conference. I swear.
Yeah,
everyone's understanding why Eddie Hearn is promoter with Jacobs. Now you see why. Yeah, he is. Jacobs'
I don't think Eddie Hearn was the most entertaining person at that press conference. I think De La Hoya was. Just because every time I see De La Hoya, I laugh because I don't know if he's cracked out of it or not.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, though. That is true. It's kind of like everything he say, you looking like, is he saying that out of his own mouth or off the coke? But Eddie said, Cinco de Mayo, great holiday, but it won't be this year. When he said that, he had everybody on his side, and then he just told the motherfucker.
When he said that shit, I'm gonna be honest, he pissed off so many Mexicans. Many Mexicans.
I know. When he said that, I was like, "Oh no!"
I loved it. It needed, man. It needed. Danny Jacobs is a bore, bro. Like, that's why nobody over here in the state. That's the only way Al Haymon would promote him and PBC is his cancer story. Like, you couldn't give us what he does. He is boring, bro. This dude is a flat out bore with gigantic fucking ears. And no big time performances that make us say, "Woo, we got to catch him again." I don't like that guy. Just put it out there.
But that's the thing though, because the fight is going to be more entertaining than the press conferences. I was expecting a little bit more fire. I know obviously before the fight, Jacobs was being nice and he was being friendly because he was hoping that the fight happens. But now the fight happens. Now you signed the contract. We need to see a little bit of a mean streak. We need to see a little bit like, okay, I'm going to take that belt. I'm going to give you an entertaining fight, but I'm going to win. You know what I mean? I need a little bit more fire. And I don't see the fire.
Scared. He probably scared, Edge. He probably scared of Canelo. Like, I mean, he barely beat Derevyanchenko's and what he didn't even beat Selecki. They gave him he probably fucking scared, bro.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know, man. But the press conference.
If I don't shit talk him, he won't punch me in my face that hard. That's why Danny come off to me. But I'm admitted, I'm biased. I don't like Danny Jacobs. That much.
Yeah, well, I had no idea. I had no idea. I mean, look, it's not the most exciting press conference. I mean, the Mexico City press conference looked great. It looked very big, grand in scale. So, but that's probably the best thing about it. I'm just, I just want this fight to happen now. Cinco de
I thought
Mayo.
that was gonna be a bigger pressure. Honestly, I was like, yo, this is gonna be outside. They're gonna fucking, some Chavez crowd type shit. It was like media closed off, white wall media closed off. I didn't like that. I don't know. Maybe Mexico too damn violent. That I don't know. Maybe that's the thought they had, but that shit looked whack to me. I was expecting a big ass Selena concert or something, and it was just like white hall clothes. I'm like, nah, that ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
That ain't what I think of Canelo when I think Mexico and Canelo. It's like, bro, this shit finna be like Floyd and Connor when they went up in Canada and opened it to the public, thinking that kind of shit. But nah.
But they're not really trash talkers. And the thing is with Canelo, he doesn't speak much English. So it's very difficult to trash talk someone that doesn't speak English. And when you talk to him, and if you're trash talking him in English, he doesn't understand word that you're saying. So it's not going to have the same effect. Do you know what I mean? So it was very difficult in that aspect of it. But yeah, they've got another press conference happening on Monday.
Talk to people. Talk to people. Shit talk his people. Make his people say, I'm going to buy just see him knock you out. Like, this shit wasn't entertaining at all. Like, I don't think Danny Jacobs could do it anyway. He just can't do it. Just ain't up to do it. And his shit talk is like extended only to these words. Where Brooklyn at? That's it. That's about it. I'm from Brooklyn. That's where it stops. They don't know too much after that.
Yeah, man. And you know what? And he's got another press conference in LA, so hopefully it's going to be more interesting, or it's going to be the same old stuff. So we'll see.
Don't count on it.
What happens?
Don't count on it.
Let's have a look in the chat. It says Aos is saying Jacobs needs to push Canelo. I mean, if Jacobs went and pushed Canelo, do you guys like it when you see those kind of things? Like obviously you saw AJ and Miller. What happened in the first press conference?
Canelo and Golovkin shit talked each other. Canelo and Golovkin fucking press conference was better than this. Like Abel, Oscar, the trainers, they was shit talking. There was some jabs going out. I know it was translation after translation, but at least I would understand half of this shit with Danny Jacobs, and he just ain't entertaining, bro. He's not gonna do none of that. I'm saying it now. The man is scared of Canelo Alvarez. If I take it light on him, he won't punch me so hard. Maybe it'd be a gentleman's agreement. That's what I think about Danny. There we are. He ain't no damn Targaryen. Let's say that much. He Danny Jacobs, not Danny Targaryen. He fucking Danny Jacobs. That's who he is.
Hey, I think we've got someone in the chat. What's happening in the group? Oh, is that Fight Doctor?
Okay, yeah, he's on mute.
It's on mute.
Fight Doctor's in the house.
Hey, Fight Doctor, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. So listen, I have to respond to this Danny Jacobs is scared talk. Listen, all due respect, but that doesn't compute in my world. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, listen, Danny Jacobs fought Golovkin before Alvarez did. When everyone accused Alvarez of ducking Golovkin, when everyone accused the whole of the middleweight division of ducking Golovkin, Danny Jacobs stepped up and took that fight, and arguably won the fight.
He was ducking him. He ducked him for years. Danny Jacobs ducked Golovkin for years.
Wait,
He ducked him for years, walking around with his little fake WBA regular belt.
Why did Lemieux fight him before Jacobs did?
Yeah,
Lemieux was at least a world champion. Jacobs was a regular belt holder. Lemieux was the IBF champion, and he fought him before.
Jacobs is a scary cat, bro. Let's be honest. Don't try to hype this man beyond what he is. No, don't do it. And then when he got in the ring, when he didn't get knocked out, he started screaming in his face and running from him and throwing a little pussy, every little combination every now and then screaming if he land while Golovkin jab his face off.
What are you talking about, man? Danny Jacobs still right in front of Golovkin all night. What are you talking about?
No, whole fight. Nah. He did it when he finally found out, hey, I actually can take a punch. I should have more belief in myself than I did. He finally did it. It was too damn late. It was too damn late.
Come on, man. What fight? You know what? I'm sorry, but no.
A fight
No.
I don't care to watch again
No.
was the fight I
No,
watched. I'm telling you the truth.
No.
I'm telling you the
No.
truth.
No,
Moving
man.
all around the ring,
Listen.
being passive aggressive Danny. That's who he is. Passive aggressive. That should be his fucking nickname. Danny Passive Aggressive Jacobs. There you have it.
Like I said the other night, you need to stop being so stingy and share whatever it is that you smoking. Okay, pass, man.
And when you get it, I guess when you get it, you see the truth. Cause I see it. I see a guy that looked pussy fired at Canelo Alvarez and don't want to talk no shit because he hoping for a gentleman agreement. That's what I see. That's what I see. And the only reason he fought Golovkin is because, like McGregor said, David Lemieux stepped up and did it. He went a lot of rounds. Canelo uppercut him off the ground, and then he finally said, "Okay, if we can get a whole lot of money to do this, money he didn't deserve, money he was only entitled to 30%, and the man was trying to steal titles unless Golovkin overpaid his ass." And Golovkin.
So wait a minute.
Can I add in one more point? Doctor, real quick?
Go ahead.
If he was so not afraid of him, why did he purposely at the rehydration thing miss weight?
Yep.
Purposely.
Yep.
What the hell are you talking about? That's a silly rule imposed by the IBF.
For a world title, he should have fought him on even terms. He should have fought him on even terms.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Golovkin made weight for that shit. He didn't.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
I ain't no Golovkin fan, but if you gonna sign the fight for the title, you don't cheat the other party, bro.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Danny Jacobs was the WBA mandatory, okay?
And he fought for all three titles.
Wait, hold on a second. Danny Jacobs was the WBA mandatory, which means that he was contesting for the WBA belt. The WBC, hold on, let me finish.
You're wrong.
He was the WBA mandatory, okay? So, as such, the WBA rules apply.
Did he sign to fight for all belts?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Answer the question. Did he sign to fight for all belts?
But I got to make my point. Can I make my point, please?
Oh my God. Your point easily defeated as soon as you say yes.
But can I make my point? The man was a WBA man. No, it was a WBA mandatory title defense. That's what it was. So what the IBF says and what the WBC has to say doesn't mean anything. It means nothing.
Did you get the contract?
So wait a minute. Hold on. Right. If Danny Jacobs were in breach of the terms of the contract, then why did Camp Golovkin not take him to court and sue him? Okay.
He fought him instead.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Golovkin let him do the shit and fought him.
Wait. The rehydration clause was not a part of the contract. That is what. It was not. But it was not a part of the contract.
No. Did Danny plan to fight for all of the belts at the initial point of that fight? Yes or no?
What difference does it make?
Because the other party's fucking adhering to the rules that you said you wanted to fight for all the belts. You didn't want to fight for the only WBA.
It was a WBA mandatory. It was a WBA mandatory defense.
I know you hate Golovkin. I'm not a Golovkin fan either. But the man had 3 belts, and you were contesting for 3 belts, and you refused to follow the rules in one, and you acted like it was okay. But if Golovkin would have took that fucking fight off the table, you would have looked like a stupid idiot and wouldn't have got your fucking payday. And I wish he would have did it because I'm tired of Danny Jacobs and his weak ass antics. Fucking cherry picking 78.
It was a WBA mandatory title defense.
Hey, may I chime in? It was actually signed. It was signed in as a unified world championship. Is what it was signed in as. It was signed in for unified world championship. He might have been mandated, but when he signed the contract, he signed for a unified world title fight for all 3 belts.
I hope he do this shit to Canelo. I hope he do, and he gonna find out that Golovkin Canelo ain't needy like Golovkin was. Gonna put his ass to the curb, and I'm gonna praise God when he do it, cause the motherfucker deserved.
All right.
Let me jump in. On this. Let me jump in.
By the way, let me just say something. Hey, Phil, welcome, Phil, was on the chat. So, how's it going?
It's good, baby. What's up?
Yeah, what's up, man? I saw you there earlier, but it was getting heated in there. I have to let the fire.
Yeah, it was getting heated. I was gonna try to be the person to diffuse this right here, man. This
Wait,
intense debate.
are you gonna be the water or are you gonna be the water or the petrol to put on the fire right now?
Man, I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to put a little water on there, man. You know what I'm saying? So
All right, so
bring.
hey, I'm gonna let you talk about everything. So basically, we've been talking about Wilder Fury being postponed, who's to blame, and obviously Canelo Jacobs. So yeah, what's your opinion on all that? I'll give you a chance to speak about all that, and then if you want to chime in on the whole Jacobs thing, then chime in on that as well.
Well, as far as the Wilder and Fury is concerned, I mean, Fury is definitely the one to blame for it because he's the one that backed out of the rematch. But I will say this right here. Tyson Fury, okay, a lot of people's calling it a duck. Then essentially it is a duck, though, okay? Because, that fight was so good and people were, excited about seeing it. It was, to me, I had it a draw. Those guys are considered to be some of the top heavyweights in the division. This was a good time to close a chapter on one of those guys as far as where we place him alongside of Anthony Joshua. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just disappointed about that. But on the flip side, am I mad at Tyson Fury for saying, you know what, man, I just signed a contract for $80 million, or whatever, however much money it is for 5 fights or whatever, 3 fights. I don't know exactly how many fights it is, but he signed an awesome contract. Okay. I think part of the reason why he got the contract was because of his performance against Deontay Wilder. Because he got fans excited. They see that he still can fight very well, and they said, you know what, let's go ahead and basically use this to our advantage. ESPN says, hey, we could get subscribers off of this, and we could pay this guy a nice piece of penny. So, from my understanding, his contract is based off of him winning. Him getting all that money is based off him winning. Why would you potentially stop your momentum against a Deontay Wilder that could possibly beat you? Okay, so you got to respect Tyson Fury where he says, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm not ready to take that fight right now. Let me take another fight. He didn't say how many fights. He said, let me fight somebody else, and then we'll discuss the rematch on a later date. It's the duck, but shit, he's telling you, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. It's not like he's coming up with some type of bullshit excuse. He's saying, hey, I'm not ready for the rematch right now. I'm going to fight these guys. His team is probably saying, hey, we're going to build some more momentum. Okay, we just signed you. And then, we could potentially get even more money put on the table if we get possibly a pay-per-view fight or something of that sort. So, no, I'm not mad at Tyson Fury. He's got a family to think about. We know he's not scared to fight Wilder because he already has. I think this is more of a strategic move than a duck, but, people's calling it a duck, and, essentially that's what it is. Now, on to Jacobs and Canelo. Now, that situation got left real quick. You know what I'm saying? I personally don't think Jacobs. Well, let me talk about them first before I jump into he was ducking Golovkin and all this other kind of stuff. In my humble opinion, I think that when Jacobs and Canelo step in that ring, I favor Canelo. I favor Canelo for the simple fact that he's a champion. He's been there. He's done that. And he's just an overall better fighter to me. Okay. Now, I say that to say this right here. Okay. Jacobs can come in with the strategy that will frustrate the hell out of Canelo. And I think it would probably consist of a lot of jabs, such as what Triple G did to Canelo. The jab worked against Canelo in their first Triple G fight. Okay. So Jacobs is going to have to throw a hell of a lot of jabs. He is going to have a lot of movement. He's going to have to move a whole bunch, man. He's going to have to frustrate Canelo in regards to moving and throwing his jab. He can't get caught up in a swing fest like he did in some cases with Triple G. You know, sometimes he sat there and he threw with Triple G in that first fight. If he does that against Canelo, I think Canelo's probably either going to stop him to the body or stop him to the head, but essentially it will end in stoppage. Jacobs, if he is going to throw a lot of combinations, he's going to have to be sure that he's technically sound because, again, to me, his biggest issue is his balance. Okay, if he throws a 3-punch combination and he's throwing it from a bad technical stance, Canelo's going to counter it, and Canelo is going to make him pay for it. Okay, and he's going to make him pay for it every single time that happens, and that's not going to fare well for Jacobs. So again, the only chance I think Jacob has is to with a lot of movement, using his jab, frustrating Canelo. And even if it goes to the scorecards and he boxes him masterfully, who knows what may happen when it goes to the scorecards. But you know, it's boxing, man. Anything can happen, but I just don't think Jacobs has enough power to stop Canelo, but Canelo could definitely stop Jacobs. That's my opinion about that particular fight.
All right. So yeah, I mean, end of the day, you know, Canelo, Jacobs, Triple G, dodging Triple G. We've got one side of the fence who thinks that Jacobs is no good, and then we've got the other side of the fence that thinks that Jacobs, you know, is a good fighter. You know, but we're gonna find out. This is a big step up. Canelo is gonna be a big step up for him, and look, I know I would like. You know, look, my brain is saying Canelo, but I would like it if Jacobs wins. I like Jacobs as a fighter. I think he's improved leaps and bounds, and I think that, you know, he deserves a chance to fight Canelo and win. So I think, and I want it to be a good, entertaining fight. I want Jacobs to really put a good performance, but I think that the odds are against him. It can't go to points. It can't go to all 12 rounds. It's going to have to do something that no one has never done before and knock out Canelo. And do I think he can do that? No. So it's going to be a tough fight for him for sure. But hey, you know, hey, but what do you think about the press conference? What do you think about the press conference? Because we were saying how the press conference is boring. Comparing it to Jarrell Miller and AJ, I mean, AJ, he never talks, but he's sold the hell out of this fight. What do you think about Canelo and Jacobs?
Well, you know what? At that particular press conference, I will say this: Eddie Hearn was actually the most interesting person at that press conference, which is bad, right? So
yeah, that's what I was saying. It was the most entertaining person at the press conference.
You know, and I just think it's one of those deals where, you know, Jacobs is you know, a guy who shows respect to the sport. I think, you know, and Canelo is not much of a shit talker within himself. So I just think we end up getting two guys that, of course, and then it's a language barrier. Of course, we got two guys that you know, just doesn't really talk a bunch of trash, you know. But now on the flip side of this right here, after the press conference, when he did interviews with certain networks and YouTube channels and stuff like that, Jacobs opened up a little bit more, and he spoke more about Canelo and, you know, his chance and his odds on winning and what he saw in him. So I think if that could have been transferred to the press conference, that would have been a lot better. But the press conference was a bit boring, and I will say this right here. But honestly, if it doesn't matter with Canelo if the press conference is boring or not, right? You know, AJ and Big Baby Miller, they have to bring a certain level of excitement because it's a strategy to introduce a new fighter essentially to the States. So they want to bring that attention, and they want to get people excited about seeing the fight. Now, on the other side, Canelo has his own following within itself, right? So even if the press conference is not super duper exciting, people are still going to tune into the fight, and he's actually fighting a good opponent. You know, recently, I wasn't super duper impressed with a lot of the guys that Canelo had been fighting, but he was fighting the guys that were in front of him. I thought he could have took some better fights, but here recently, since the Golovkin, he fought Rocky Fielding, which that's not a great fight, but he went up in weight and then he fought. Now he's fighting Jacobs. I think right now what he's doing is he's solidifying himself to be one of the best pound for pound guys to ever do the sport. And you know that's good because these are the fights we want to see. Now whether you like Jacobs or not, Jacobs is a formidable opponent, and some people think that he could beat Canelo. You know, of course, Eddie thinks he can beat him. I'm sure his team thinks he can beat him, and it's a lot of fans worldwide that think he has a chance. I think the fight against Triple G and Jacobs was very, very close. So whether people saying he ducked him or he was scared or not, he got in there and he proved the point that, hey, you know what? I can fight with these guys, you know, because you got to think about it, man. Triple G was running through everybody like hot butter, like a knife through hot butter.
Yeah.
No, Jacobs got in there and he slowed. Yeah, go ahead. What you saying?
Yeah, and also as well, you know, look, Jacobs has to fight a lot better than he did against Triple G to beat Canelo, and he knows that, and this is where it's going to be intriguing. You know, this is where I think that he understands this is the biggest fight of his life, and I think that he is gonna have to use all his advantages and maximize on those to have a good chance of winning. So this is where we're going to see how it goes. Is this going to be, is this going to be the best Daniel Jacobs performance we've ever going to see, or is he just going to fall short? So this is where it's going to be interesting. So I'm looking. So go on.
No, I'm saying I definitely agree with you. I think Jacobs is going to have to elevate his game in order to beat Canelo. So everything you said to me personally is spot on. But anybody that says he's not a good fighter, man, I can't. Come on, man. You may not like the guy's style. You may think he's made some bad business decisions with his career, but essentially, this dude he's a solid fighter. I mean, that's just the facts.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's a good fight. He's a solid fighter, and I think he's a good, look, there's no other fighters in middleweight that will be better than Jacobs right now for him to fight. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing it anyways, to seeing how it goes. So let's talk about, obviously we was talking about Fury and Wilder 2 being postponed, and we was talking about who is the guy holding the short straw. So obviously Dillian White, out of all this, is the guy holding the short straw. So we was talking earlier and saying, who would we like to see Dillian White fighting? So what is your opinion on who you like to see Dillian White fighting? Because there's literally pretty much nearly 90% of all the fighters are all fighting each other, all fighting people now.
Well, to me personally, and we're going actually on this one right here, we can just let the system do its thing. You know what I'm saying? Just let the system actually work this time, right? So Dillian White is lined up to supposed to fight a eliminator to become the mandatory to the WBC. Okay, now right now Wilder's in negotiations with Dominic Brazil, I believe. I'm not 100% accurate on that, but that's just the buzz that's going on. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now you have Dillian White there who does not have a fight lined up. Okay, but it's some guys out there he can get in the ring with to stay active. So that's and let's be honest, that's not Dillian White's problem. He'll get in there with anybody to stay active, and he's gonna give 110%, and he's going to keep his momentum going. Okay, keep the momentum going. So I think if he just sits tight, because he's high in the rankings in a couple of different sanctioning bodies actually. So if he sits tight, he's going to get a shot at one of those belts really soon. I think Wilder, it would be a better option for him to go as far as snatching the belt.
But that's the thing though, because that's the thing though, because Dillian White doesn't want to wait. He wants to fight. So the problem is that all the fighters that he could have fought Joshua. He turned that down. Then he was gonna fight Dominic Brazil, but now it looks like he's gonna be fighting. What's his name? Fighting Wilder. So, and then he got Tyson Fury. He's gonna fight probably a nobody. And then so there's no one really left. Ortiz is fighting tonight. So who is left for him to fight? Povetkin and Usyk are fighting. So then who's left?
You know, man, he could fight, and it's gonna sound bad. He can fight any one of the fucking people Deontay Wilder fought up until this point. He can fight any one of the guys AJ fought up until this point. I mean, you know, we do want to see him against top level competition, but in this situation, you know, he kind of got in the bad. Got caught in a bad way, man, because the Fury pullout fucked up everything. You know, Fury pullout fucked up everything, and he just caused complete chaos within the heavyweight division, which that's a typical Tyson Fury move, right? I mean, you know, people have been mad at him, but this guy, he likes to cause confusion, you know. So again, that's why I can't be upset with him. But Dillian White, to me personally, because he got caught in a bad situation, I really don't give a shit who he fights right now, but I care about who he fights next. Once all this stuff shakes out, then I think Dillian White can give us a really good fight in a potential Deontay Wilder fight, or even a potential Anthony Joshua fight, you know, later this year.
Do you feel sorry for Dillian White? Do you feel sorry for him?
No. I'm gonna tell you why I don't feel.
You feel bad for him.
No, I'm gonna tell you why I don't feel bad for Dillian White.
Why,
okay.
Why haven't you got no heart? Why haven't you got no heart?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because look at this right here. And let's be real. If Dillian White fights Dominic Breazeale, okay, he's a mandatory for Wilder. If Wilder would have fought Fury, okay, and retained the belt, or he would have fought against Tyson Fury, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So essentially, he's still one fight out from the belt. You dig what I'm saying? So honestly, okay, he's one fight out from the belt. All right. Once Dominic Breazeale and the Wilder fight is done, then he's still one fight out from the belt, because now he's the mandatory. He has the silver title or the regular title or whatever the hell the thing is called, right? So he's still one fight out, right? He just didn't get the fight he wanted. He didn't get the fight he wanted with Anthony Joshua, and he couldn't get the fight with Wilder, of course. So he was going to fight Dominic Breazeale. That fight got pushed back because, of course, Dominic Breazeale is going to go fight for the heavyweight title. Okay, he's still one fight out, so that's why I don't feel bad for him. Now, when I would feel bad for him is if Wilder says, you know what, or Dominic Breazeale says, you know what, fuck this, I'm finna go fight Anthony Joshua, or I'm finna go fight Tyson Fury or something like that, right? Because the WBC is not going to probably, because it's just not how they work. They're not going to mandate the fight right away, okay? Dillian White is your mandatory. You need to fight him next. That's just not how they works. But it is a public desire to see Dillian White and Deontay Wilder fight, okay? It's just one of those things that we want to see. The public is demanding this fight to happen. So I think Deontay Wilder would take that fight against Dillian White. So he's still one fight out. You know,
that's the thing. That's the thing. If Wilder wanted Dillian White, he could get Dillian White. Dillian White's been wanting that fight for ages, but Wilder don't want to fight Dillian White. He goes to fight Ortiz. Like, if he wanted to, because let's have a look at it. He wanted to fight Ortiz.
Fight that old man.
He wanted to fight Ortiz. And what he did was, and Stefan was the mandatory. Yeah. And let's remember this. Breazeale has not been called. The WBC did not order Breazeale. The WBC ordered Stefan. They ordered Stefan. So you had to pay Stefan step aside money to fight Ortiz. So Wilder doesn't have to fight Breazeale. Let me
say this. Hold on. Let me say this.
He can fight Dillian White. He can fight Dillian
White. Hold up. And this is where I don't agree with you. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you can't feel sorry for Dillian White and not feel sorry for Dominic Breazeale. Dominic Breazeale has been the mandatory for quite some time now. Okay, he's built up something to put himself in that position. Whether we thought he fought bullshit people or not, but he put himself in that position to be the mandatory to the WBC. Now, whether they call the fight or not, I can't feel sorry for one without feeling sorry for the other one. You understand what I'm saying? That's just now how it works for me personally. Okay, now is Dillian White a better fight? Of course. Will we want to see Dillian White? I mean, get the fuck out of here. Who wouldn't want to see Dillian White and Wilder, right? But, you know, you can't say, okay, one person deserves it more than the other because Dominic Breazeale has been waiting his time as well. So let's.
I wasn't saying that Dominic Breazeale doesn't deserve it or anything like that. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't feel sorry for Dillian White. He turned down Anthony Joshua. So at the end of the day, he could be in a world title fight right now. But I'm just asking you what your opinion of the whole thing is.
Oh yeah, nah, man. I don't mind Deontay Wilder fighting against Dominic Breazeale. And this is the deal right here. You got to remember this as well. Okay, these fighters, okay, they have these egos. Okay, now. Eddie Hearn said, "Hey, look, if you come over here to the UK, and we'll pay you. I don't remember what it was, maybe $5 million or $4 million. I don't remember what it was, but it was more than he would have gotten for fighting in the States, if I'm correct, right? So, you know, you really gotta, because let's be honest, Dillian White is a dangerous fight, okay, for any heavyweight, okay.
Dillian White is a dangerous fight, but." Like, you know, the problem with Deontay Wilder is, and I said this before, Eddie Hearn is offering you $15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale or Dillian White. So, but then Eddie Hearn could easily go, do you know what? Forget Dominic Breazeale. They haven't even called the mandatory. I'm offering you $15 million, your biggest, highest payday, to fight Dillian White. So then why are you going to...
No, he offered to anybody. He offered any fighter. He said pick any of them.
No, but what I'm saying is Eddie Hearn can just simply say, do you know what? Forget Dominic Breazeale. I'm giving you $15 million only for Dillian White. I want you to fight Dillian White next. And I'm giving you $15 million to fight Dillian White next. Do you know what I mean?
Well, look, let me tell you something. If that's the case, right? I don't think Eddie's done that yet, but if
why don't answer his calls? That's why.
Yeah, well, you got to think about it, man. Those guys.
Why do they need to pick up his
that whole debacle or whatever that went on with AJ's team and Wilder team when they couldn't make the fight the first time? I don't know. It's some underlying tape with both of them. They just because let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for 1 second, yeah. Let's not talk about the negotiations. Let's talk about Wilder Fury, yeah. Let's remember. Let's go back in time. Back when that fight was announced, Wilder versus Fury. Let's all talk about the bullshit, the crap that Wilder and Tyson Fury was spewing. When they said, oh, this fight is so easy to make. It only took 2 seconds. When two people want the fight, this fight will happen. You know, Anthony Joshua making the fight difficult. You know, he didn't really want the fight. You see how easy it was for Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder to make this fight happen? Remember that last year when they were talking all that shit? And I said, hold on. No, but look, hold up. That's not talking shit. That was facts, though. That was facts. But go ahead.
No.
No, that was facts. They did make the fight easy, Edge. Come on, Edge. Don't sway facts to fit your narrative, though.
No.
That's not fair to those guys. That fight got made easy. But go ahead.
Yeah, that fight did get made easy. But people are forgetting the reason why that fight was made easy. That fight was made easy because Tyson Fury needed to boost his profile up. Yeah, and to boost his profile up. And he was coming off fighting two bums, and Deontay Wilder for Tyson Fury was easy pickings, and they both wanted that fight desperately for their own gain, and that's the reason why that fight was made easily. Yeah, so people are under the assumption of, oh, Wilder and Fury fight that was easy to make. That means all fights should be this easy. They're creating that illusion of fights can be easy as Wilder and Fury if people want it. Well, that's not the reality. They're creating that perception of it being easy to fight these fights to make. That's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say the fights.
Well, look. So let me before you move on. Let me comment on that. Before you move on, let me comment on that.
No. I'm moving on. I'm saying let's not pretend that the fights are like that. It's always been easy because fights has never been that easy to make. That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
Well, this is I'm gonna be quick with it. This is my opinion on that right there. When those guys said, "Hey, this fight was easy to make," I don't think they were trying to create a perception to the public to saying, "Hey, all fights will be easy." What they're saying is, "Hey, you know what? We made the fight easy, okay? And we hope that later on down the line, if we were to fight an Anthony Joshua, the business could also be this way.
Yeah,
You're right. I
but
do think those guys. Hold up, Edge. Hold up. I think those guys did use each other to each other's advantage. Those guys did need one another to boost their profiles. They both needed one another, period. Okay. Whether people think, I don't think Tyson Fury was easy pickings, but some people do. I had a 50-50 fight. So whether that's irrelevant. But the fact is that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder is two of the biggest heavyweights and best heavyweights in the division, and they had a fight and it got made easy. It's nothing wrong with stating the facts, but essentially you're correct. Fights don't happen that. Hold on, you're right. Fights don't happen that easy. Okay, especially when you have a guy that doesn't have a belt in Tyson Fury, okay, and you have Anthony Joshua. When you're coming in, you're asking for 45% or whatever the situation may be, asking for more than 40%. That's just ridiculous. Now, Deontay Wilder, I think a 60-40 split is fair enough, okay? So, and depending on what the terms is after that, then that's to be discussed. But yeah, you're right. Essentially, the fights don't happen that easy, especially when it comes to the best guys in the division. But those guys did state facts.
Yeah, so look, and at the end of the day, it comes down to this, yeah? Like, Wilder Fury 2, the reason why it's not happened is because Tyson Fury has boosted his profile a lot, and he signed a big, huge money deal with ESPN, which made it a lot difficult now as to the reason why the fight was easy before. Whereas if he had this ESPN deal, back then, this fight would have not happened in the first place. So people are now thinking, oh, Wilder Fury 2 was going to be easy because the first fight was easy. They were wrong. And I said back then, straight after the Wilder versus Fury fight, I said straight after, Wilder's going to be fighting Brazil next. I said it back then. Back in December, I said it. And after that, people will say, no, it's going to be this fight and Wilder and Fury. And as soon as that ESPN that deal was done, I knew this fight was not going to happen. Even though everybody's saying, this is what I'm saying. There's what fighters and what TV networks say, and there's reality. And the TV networks always going to say things, positive things, even though they're talking out of their asses. Yeah? The fact of the matter is, we have to see through the bullshit and look at the real situation, what's going on. And that's the point. That's the problem I had. The problem I had was, yes, it's easy. That's great. If all fights was easy, then it'll be fantastic. But the issue I had was they were saying the reason why they were saying it is to fit their narrative of, oh, Anthony Joshua is being difficult. And we're not difficult because we made this fight very quick, and that was the narrative that they were trying to spin. And that's the reason. That's the point I was trying to make. Where I said, no.
Well, Dillian White also said the same thing about Anthony Joshua, though. So
no. But
maybe so. I mean, I don't think they're blowing smoke at people. He might. I'm not saying that he's 100% difficult, but he may be slightly difficult. When you get the top 5 heavyweights all trying to fight this guy and they all saying the same thing, I'm not saying it's 100% true, but it may have some truth to it.
No. Well, the only people that's talking true, the only people that's talking not true, but that has the right to talk is Deontay Wilder and Dillian White. They're the only 2 people that have got the right to talk. Tyson Fury was never interested in fighting Anthony Joshua. He was never interested in fighting Anthony Joshua. He came and asked. Because Tyson Fury has been negotiating with ESPN since September. Yeah? Since last year, September, he was negotiating with ESPN. Yeah? It came out. So what he did was what Deontay Wilder should be doing now. Tyson Fury went to all the people and said, Eddie Hearn, what are you going to pay me? Send me your offer, what you're going to pay me. So Eddie Hearn sent him how much he's willing to pay him. So he used that offer, went to ESPN and went, this is what Eddie Hearn is going to pay me. How much are you going to be paying me? ESPN gave him a figure, and then he went with ESPN, and that's what he did. He had no intention of fighting Anthony Joshua. He was looking for the best offer that came his way, and he was using it to negotiate a better deal with ESPN. That's why he kept it quiet, and he didn't tell nobody about it. Do you know what I mean? And look, end of the day, Fury's thinking about Fury. That's down to him. He's making 180 million. Great. He's in the Fury business. But as a fan, from looking at it from a fan's perspective, then no, you screwed us over, mate. You screwed us over. We thought it was going to be Wilder Fury 2, and now we're going to get Fury versus some dude that we ain't probably never heard of, and Wilder's fighting Brazil, and Dillian White is fighting nobody. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna look rubbish now. We could have had.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I agree with you. He caused it complete chaos. But that's you got to think about who we're talking about, right? We're talking about Tyson Fury. That's what he does. I mean, people's acting like they surprised that he done this. I'm not surprised that he said, you know what, Deontay Wilder. I mean, that's just like you beat a 10-year reigning heavyweight and you go into a fucking drug spell and low and your self-esteem is low, you go into depression. I mean, he just does that. And you take almost 3 years off from a sport that you've been doing your whole life. So when he makes a decision like this, I'm not surprised. That's what he is. He's chaotic. You know, when it comes to business, he is very, very chaotic. But I cannot take away from him. He's still a good fighter, but he is super chaotic. I wasn't surprised that he handled things the way he handled. And that's what I was saying earlier.
Let's have a look at the chat. It says, Hamed says, ain't no place, and just turned on. Okay, and I don't know what that meant, but Ayob says Wilder too emotional, acting like AJ's ex-girl. I know Wilder's too emotional, man. He gets emotional too easy. He should be thinking business. I agree with that.
He is too emotional and personal with this boxing right now. Just grow up.
And Shelly Finkel's the same, man. Like, yeah, look, Eddie Hearn called him Shelly Winkle and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, look, it's business at the end of the day. If someone's offering you a lot of money and is making good business sense, you should be having your business hat on and not ruining opportunities for your fighter because your feelings were hurt because he's misspelled your name wrong. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
And Hamed says Ed's got a point. When Wilder meant to be fighting someone who's got something to lose, the fight never materializes. Hamed says on paper Fury was meant to be, and it's got pears or fruit. I don't know what that is. Hamed says Wilder handpicked him, and Hamed says the reason Fury Wilder happened because neither of them was A side. Like I said, exactly. So that's the reasons,
No, I disagree with that. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, the guy with the WBC belt is definitely the A side. No. Now, whether you think the likability, nobody's the A side. I can guarantee you that Deontay Wilder he had the belt, and I guarantee you he had the better of the two paydays. So that essentially makes you the A side. But
yeah, Wilder is definitely the A side. I mean, when you look at it,
they got 50-50 pay. They got paid for $1 million each. That's what they purchased came out. They got the same kind of pay. Fury told him, "I'm giving you the opportunity to fight me." Because remember, they was told they were saying they gonna get $15 million each. You
spewing out false shit now.
Wilder was not Fury A-side. Fury told that man that I'm giving you the opportunity to fight me. They told Fury come back basically because they thought he was a fucking cokehead. Wilder failed. They told Wilder $4 million, $3 million.
Low. I'm tired of you saying that Fury was a cokehead. That's irrelevant to being a good fight.
That's why they brought him back. They gave Wilder $4 million. They gave Fury $3 million. Fury not a mandatory or nothing, and he basically coming over to your country to get paid something he couldn't have got paid in the UK. That's A side right there alone. I mean,
so you talking about A side in the rematch or the A side in the first match?
In the first one was gonna be 50-50 purse bid. The WBC.
No. The first fight was not 50-50 low. The second fight,
he got 4. Wilder got a guaranteed 4. Fury got a guaranteed 3. That's A side alone. You're not supposed to get 3. He the WBC champion.
No, hold on. I don't want to blow up Edge's hangout, but if one person gets more money than the other one, that's A side, low.
This man is because
you're saying just because hold up. Just because you want everybody to take 20-30% to fight Adonis Stevenson, right? It don't mean that Fury has to do the same thing. That's why you negotiate, brother. But Wilder still was the A side.
Dude is coming off a coke bench. Come on, man. He getting $3 million. He ain't somebody A side when the champion just getting an extra $1 million on that. This dude came in here and told him the truth. I'm giving you the opportunity to fight me, and that's what happened. They couldn't have got no money fighting nobody. Fighting Joshua. That fight.
Hey, look, Low,
I agree
low.
with Hamed in the chat.
If-
The
if-
fight
hey,
was
Low,
easy to
listen
make
to me.
because they was
Low.
both beggars. They was both
Low.
beggars, and they both
Low.
cheating the game.
If that's your opinion, I'm cool with that. But
It's not
essentially how
opinion,
it
it's
goes,
fact. They
the
was cheating
personal,
the
hold up,
game.
hold up. If that's your opinion, that's cool. But essentially, if you get more money, you're the A side. Period. Let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah. So,
Let's move on.
Look. At the end of the day, it comes down to now. Let's go back to now. It's postponed, and they're saying that it's gonna happen. The fight is gonna happen towards the end of the year. Now, do you believe that this fight is gonna happen towards the end of the year? Yes or no?
If it do, Wilder a fucking idiot for not taking that 15 million from the zone and then 50-50 or 60-40 from Eddie Hearn. So at that point, I don't care what he do with his life. At that point, I don't care if he ever fight Fury again because he's a stupid ass idiot and he is slave to Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman. If that's simple as that. If you can't go make $15 million versus Dominic Breazeale when other people have only made $75,000 to fight Dominic Breazeale, AJ the only person in the history of boxing to make over $100,000 fighting Dominic Breazeale, and they try and give you 15 million, and you sitting out here talking about your promoter and your man, well, Shelly Finkel, whatever he is to you, saying he's not gonna give you away to networks. Man, Deontay Wilder can kiss my ass and his whole team too, bro. They don't want to get nobody no fights.
Look, at the end of the day, yeah, what happened? Look, with Deontay Wilder, what happened last year was last year. That can only hold water for so long. Do you know what I mean? Like, that can only hold water for so long, you know. But when you get Eddie Hearn coming out in the public saying, "I'm going to give you $15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale," you know, you got no choice. You have to pick up the phone and speak to Eddie Hearn and say, "Look, like, do you know what I mean? You have to, you know what I mean? It gets to that point where you're getting 15 million. Your biggest payday to fight Dominic Breazeale. Your biggest ever payday to fight Dominic Breazeale. Do you know
So look, listen to me.
Like,
Hold on.
You have to listen. You have to at least listen.
Yeah, you have to.
Do you know what I mean?
Hold up. Listen, hold up. Listen to what I gotta say. Okay. All right. Now. All right. So yes, if somebody calls you and says that, okay, hey, you know what? I'll pay you 15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna jump right on it. Okay. That's common sense, right? That's just thinking with logic.
I don't know.
Okay.
Why that has common sense. That's the problem. I don't know if he has
Hold up.
sense.
Hold up. Just listen to what I'm saying.
Go on.
Wilder actually hasn't come in. He hasn't come into that. Okay. Now, this is my deal right here. Okay. You have to think about some of these fighters. Okay. They trust these people. Like, I mean, I've never seen somebody develop a level of trust like Al Heyman has. Like, whatever he tells his fighters, he said these fighters stand behind him. Okay. Now, I don't know what the relationship is, but, you know, clearly these relationships mean something to these fighters for the zone to come out and offer these guys, pretty much all of them, their biggest paydays year to date. He did it with purse payday, shall I say, year to date. He did it with Mikey Garcia. He did it with Adrian Broner. He's trying to do it with Deontay Wilder, and he's done it with a couple of other guys as well, right? So both Charlo brothers, and these guys have a sense of loyalty to Al Heyman. Why? I don't know. Okay, maybe it's a trust factor. Okay, but yeah, thinking with logic, if he says we're gonna pay you 15 million, yeah, of course, you would say, well, let me just see what he's talking about. You pick up the phone and see. That's what I don't agree with. He should pick up the phone, talk to him, but clearly Deontay Wilder is not interested in signing with the network. And me personally, I can't be upset.
They don't want him to sign. Hold
up, Lo. I'll let you go. I'll let you call
Wilder. Something that's not true. They don't want him to sign with the network. They don't want him to sign with the zone. They want 3 guaranteed fights, and he can do whatever the hell he want to do after that. They want 3 fights. They want 2 agency fights and 1 lead-up fight, and the biggest purse ever.
So again, whatever Deontay Wilder decides to do with his career, whoever he takes guidance from, that's his business. I'm not in the man's pocket. Okay, I'm not worried about what the fuck the next man working. I'm worried about what I'm about to be making. Okay, so if he doesn't want to go take the money from Eddie and the zone or whoever it may be, then let it be. Just let it be. I mean,
ain't no let it be. He robbing us of a unified title fight. He robbing the fans and talking shit. He talking shit, robbing the fans and being a fakester.
This is
making the
thing.
South look bad and shit. Deontay Wilder, a clown.
But hold
If
up,
you don't
time
go
out, man.
fight
You
Dominic Brazil,
you
you're
can't
gonna
say
fight
that,
himself.
man. Because hold up. You can't say that. You can't say that because even AJ's come out and said, "Hey, we both made mistakes on both sides."
But that's
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not finna stick on. No, he said maybe he said maybe it was me. I don't know. He said I thought I was doing it right. Maybe not. You know what?
He said we both made mistakes. He said
look,
it. No, he
look,
said that.
look,
Go
look,
back,
You know
look
what
at the
they've
interview.
continued to do? They've continued to make offers and increase the purse of Deontay Wilder by numbers that he never would have seen without them. And they trying, like I said, if it's a mistake to give you $15 million to fight Dominic Brazil when Showtime probably ain't gonna give you shit but 2.5, then that's a great fucking mistake, AJ. I hope you keep making them mistakes. And Deontay Wilder, a clown if he don't go fight that man, a flat out fucking clown. And Al Heyman is his slave master, and so is Shelly Finkel.
Okay,
at the end of the
I
day,
I can't agree with you, Lo, but we're gonna move on.
yeah, like,
Because I mean, you got a deep hatred toward these guys, man. I don't know
hating
what it
them.
is,
I ain't hating them.
but
I don't hate
you know what I'm saying?
hey, look. Look,
Whatever,
look,
man.
look,
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Low Place doesn't hate Deontay Wilder. He just hates.
No, I'm not.
the
Look. I'm
ducking.
not gonna fall into the
He
low
just
place
hates the
debating zone. I'm not gonna do it. I
got
know
no
better.
hate
I've
for
been
yeah,
knowing
yeah,
low place
yeah.
long enough to know that.
Himself. Why do I need to hate him when he hating on himself? Why do I need to
Look.
hate?
Edge. You see
You
what I'm
hate
saying? Edge. What's the next topic, Edge? I'm not falling into this sticky
man.
trap.
Hey,
Fucking low placing on the ground.
The next topic is no place like low place.
Oh God!
Edge know it's true, bro. Eddie Hearn told this man.
I'm gonna call y'all back, man. If that's
Eddie
what we-
Hearn told this man that any
Hey.
fight that you want, DAZN will pay you $15 million for any fight that you want. We'll pay you $15 million for it.
All
That
right,
shit
so you know
right
what?
there, bro. You ain't
and-
got to leave Al Heyman. You ain't got to leave Heyman. You got nothing on your side. You got 3 belts on one side, and you got to fight you fucking dying to fight Tyson Fury for whatever reason because you failed to knock that cokehead out, and you want to try to prove you can do it this time. I don't know. You don't need a second chance at that. You need to go get all the titles. Then Tyson Fury can chase your ass. Okay, you are the complete A side when you beat Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury don't get no 50-50. He don't tell that nigga fuck him. You got the win. He don't.
Hey, do you know what? Like, and on this topic, yeah, we're gonna start. Do you know what? There's a fight going on tonight. Lara versus Castano. I can't get to watch it in the UK. I'll probably watch it by other means. You guys probably guess what means there will be. But yeah, you know, you guys want to talk about that quickly? No.
Yeah. It's gonna be quick.
Yeah, because I'm gonna watch it.
Honestly, I don't know it. I don't know enough about Castano to what I do know about him. He clearly has a sense of pride and skill to think he can come in and fight against a proven guy like Lar. So you know he's got some coconuts on him, right? So, but I hadn't seen enough of him to make a prediction on the fight, and because of that, I'm going to have to say that Lars probably going to win. But I think he's fighting for a end game strategy. I think if he comes in and he performs well enough, it'll fare for his career later down the line and line up bigger fights for him in the future. But I think Lar beats him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if I'm gonna be watching this fight or not. But you know, the main fight is watching Ortiz. That's the main fight I'm really interested in, to be honest with you, than watching Lara. I think Lara will win this fight. I think Castano is a decent fighter, but I think that look, I said that about James DeGale, and I felt I haven't even spoken about James DeGale yet. But I'm gonna speak about James DeGale. I'm gonna do a show tomorrow, and I'm gonna talk about James DeGale and all those other things. But yeah, like, you know, I'm not watching. I can't get to watch it in the UK, so I can't really talk too much about it. But if Lara wins, there's options. Jamie Munguia, no, was it Jamie Munguia? That's a fight. He could fight 154. You know, so yeah, I mean, you know, I haven't got much to say about it. Like, I think that Lara wins, and I hope I'm right. I hope he's still got fuel in the tank. And Ortiz will win, so I think it's going to be Cuban 1-2. Yeah, they both move on to bigger and better things. So, But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna cancel the show now. Stop the show because it's nearly been 3 hours. So and I need to Next Gen is on Sky, so I'm gonna watch some of that. But before I go, do you guys want to say any last words?
Always, man. Appreciate you for having me on your hangout. Low place. Oh, low place and already left.
Yeah, man. He said that's what it is. He said we had to say and left.
Yeah. Again, man, I appreciate you, Edge, man, for allowing me to come on your platform, talk boxing respectfully, and giving your subscribers a chance to hear different perspectives on the sport, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems, man. No problems, man. And Fight
I would like
Doctor.
I would just like to reiterate Phil's comments. Thanks again, and see you next go round.
All right, cool, man. Thanks, Fight Doctor. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Low Place. Thanks, Unbiased. Boxing Talks on the chat. Boxing Killers TV. JD, Hamed, Aobs for all coming on the chat as well. Thanks for everybody listening. If you liked the show, hit that subscribe button. If you liked the show, hit that like button as well. I might do another show tomorrow. I'll do another show tomorrow. You know what I mean? Gonna stay on the grind. And you might hear from all these guys on again tomorrow night. Thanks a lot, everybody. Is there anything else you guys want me to talk about? Leave it in the comments after the show, and I'll talk about it. Booyah.